Yeah, I don't have it.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the TimcastIRL podcast. We are live. We got an occupation happening in Seattle with a bunch of crazy people. Apparently, someone pulled a gun on someone. Seems like it's just going crazy. We got another really big story, though. We definitely have to start with what's going on in Seattle at the CHAZ, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. But I'll tell you what's really freaking me out. A lot of you might not play the game Magic the Gathering, but they've just banned a bunch of cards for being racist. That, to me, is one of the freakiest things ever, because who cares about it's a game about goblins fighting vampires, or it's like Magic and elves, and now they're like, but these cards are racist.
I don't know.
They are now banned.
You found some interesting stuff about it.
one card.
I know,
from the 90s.
But it was recently that they categorized it, right? Didn't you say that? Because Gather, I don't know how long Gather has been around, but can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Like,
yeah,
okay.
We're good.
Yeah, it's like I don't know when Gather became a thing, but I don't think they designated
Gatherer is a database for Magic the Gathering cards. Magic the
Right.
Gathering is one of the most popular, if not the most prominent card game in the world.
It is. Definitely
And there's some cards where you're like, what were they thinking when they basically one card looks like a bunch of clan guys, and the number they databased it as is 1488.
Yeah, it's like okay, come on.
Yeah, and like
it
the
even
artist
looks
is
like some clansmen in that card. It's pretty
right, exactly.
It's pretty nuts.
But some of these cards, it's like shocking how insane it is to ban. So anyway, the point is, man, I don't care if you play or don't play Magic the Gathering. What we're gonna be talking about is the culture revolution, and it's getting freaky. Banning movies, banning books. It's been getting worse. Now you're saying like you open up Netflix and Netflix is like, have you paid penance to racial justice today?
Here's all these black films to watch.
Yeah, watch this movie. There was some dude who made a video where he was like, why is my 9-year-old kid getting prompted on EA to like confirm that they're not racist?
Yep, it's messed up.
Dude, it's religious indoctrination is now infecting all of these companies.
Yep, all of them.
Freaky. Anyway, if you haven't already, smash the like button.
Smash that like button.
Help out the channel.
Smash it.
Oh wait, yeah, there we go.
Smash.
Do it.
Yeah, smash.
Smash the like button.
Or you can tap it.
Just press it.
And get in your super chats.
And share.
We won't be able to read every single super chat, but we usually dedicate around the last hour to just answering questions and then talking about the things we can get to. So that's always available for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell. And we do the show every Monday through Friday live at 8 p.m. and post clips throughout the day. So, yeah. How about we start talking about the Capitol Hill Free Zone?
Yeah.
Sure.
Autonomous Zone. I'm
CHAZ.
sorry. CHAZ.
Yeah.
Autonomous Zone.
It sounds an awful lot like Chad.
So
Yeah.
apparently they've gone nuts.
Oh, have they already?
Yeah, already.
Okay, good
Well,
times.
I mean, they were nuts to start.
Didn't they have free before? It was
The free zone.
So it's
but
free
then-
CHAZ?
But now it's like some people are calling it the free Seattle zone, the autonomous Seattle zone. Now it's Capitol Hill because that's a specific neighborhood.
Oh man.
Now I'll tell you what, for the most part, like on the surface, I'm actually cool with it.
Yeah.
It's if you're talking about an Occupy Wall Street style, people banging drums and singing songs in the street,
Yeah.
and the community is totally cool with it, I got no issue. But now you've got people showing up with guns. You've got lawlessness. Some dude apparently was tagging, so he got confronted. Then someone pulled a gun.
Yep.
And then somebody was like, "Dude, we're the police now. Okay, we're the police now."
You do
It's
what
like,
we say.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
People are freaking out. They're like, "This is getting scary," because you've got a bunch of woke, crazy people saying they're the police. Apparently, one of the guys is accused of being a sex offender by some of the other activists.
What?
It's like now you have this guy walking around claiming to be in charge. This is what you asked for.
It's true.
They're calling him what are they calling him, a warlord or something?
You know, some people are going to businesses and telling them they need to pay money.
What?
You
Really?
need to pay us money. $500.
No, where'd you hear that?
I read an article about it.
What?
Yep.
I did read that they were forcing businesses to, quote, disaffiliate from the city.
Yeah, it was from one of the business owners. He was just talking to them. They're like, can I pay in Bitcoin? And they're like, yeah, sure, you can pay with Bitcoin. So they were like, he's like, oh, okay, well, what's the thing I need to? Where do I pay it? And he was gonna pay it, and then they left and haven't come back yet. And he's like, I can barely even afford that.
Did you hear about what happened in Minneapolis with that hotel?
I heard a little bit about it. How they kind of gave
Took
him
it
a
over?
couple rooms. Then
They moved
took
in.
over the whole place.
Yeah, and then they posted a GoFundMe, raised $150K, and they were like, "The owner has graciously allowed us to use the building." You know what really
I don't
happens?
think so.
No, you get a mob of crazy people smashing and destroying the city, and they walk in and say, "It's our building. Look at me. We are the Sheraton now."
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "Okay, yeah, please, just take it.
Don't hurt me.
And then they turn to the camera and go, "He's graciously letting us use it." Yeah, under duress, you lunatics.
Yeah.
Now he's evicted everybody. Because like as soon as things died down, he's like, get out.
Yep.
Evicted 200 people, and they're like, but it's our rent.
He didn't even evict them per se. He just he canceled the cards so they couldn't get back into the
Oh, is that
rooms.
what happened?
Yeah. So they were starting to complain like, well, I can't get back in my room. And he's like, oh, I don't care.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
I wonder where all that money's gonna go.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I keep seeing like you support Black Lives Matter, you're just supporting Democrats.
Right, exactly.
It's the same
You know,
foundation.
so did we talk about the Ashanti cloth thing the Democrats did?
Yeah.
I looked it up. It's true.
I know. That's what I said.
Yeah.
So okay.
It's terrible.
The Democrats, they wore these claws. They're called kente claws. And it turns out the ones they wore specifically came from the Ashanti Empire, which made a fortune dealing in slavery with the British Empire.
Yep. Selling off their own people.
Do you think they did
That's
that
amazing.
on purpose? They were like,
They had no idea.
no, I don't know, man.
that was a virtue signal.
Somebody had
That's
to know.
all it was.
No, somebody, listen.
So you think someone was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be great. They're gonna wear these and make fools of themselves." No,
Listen,
they had no idea what they were
in
doing.
1990,
Zero clue.
In 1994, a Magic the Gathering card was made. And what is that?
That is your cat.
That is, Bucko is yelling.
Oh.
Anyway, Magic the Gathering card was made.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the artist, I guess they're saying, was racist. And then it got databased under 1488. Somebody knew exactly what they were doing when they did that, and they thought it was funny,
Yeah.
right? So
or they were doing it on purpose.
well, we'll get to this, but I'm making a point, right?
Okay.
Because we'll talk about the magic stuff next. Somebody got these claws from the Democrats and had to know exactly what they were and where they were from.
Definitely.
These claws were from a specific tribe that was like slave traders.
Yep. It's true.
Okay. Anyway, but back to the Capitol Hill free zone. Yes. So the Democrats are basically, supporting this,
Yep.
bowing to it, bending the knee to it.
Although they are going back on the defund the police thing. They're trying to separate themselves from that.
And to be specific, I mean the Black Lives Matter stuff.
Okay.
Which is exactly what they're, saying in this. So I have this article, right? And it's really funny because if you look at the pictures, everybody there is white. Yeah. There's some people who are not white. But this is the article that was posted, I guess. And I don't even know who posted it. Oh, I'm sorry. They transcribed the actual spoken list of demands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it says the demands of the collective black voices at Free Capitol Hill to the government of Seattle, Washington. I don't want to read too much, but I want to highlight one specific thing where they say the first demand, the number one demand, the Seattle Police Department and attached court system are beyond reform. We do not request reform. We demand abolition.
Wow.
We demand the Seattle City Council and the mayor defund and abolish the Seattle Police Department and the attached criminal justice apparatus. This means 100% of funding, including existing pensions for Seattle police. At an equal level of priority, we also demand that the city disallow the operations of ICE in the city of Seattle. You see, you give them an inch, they take 50 miles.
Yep.
Now they want to abolish the courts. All the Democrats are trying to walk this back, though.
Yeah,
They're saying, like Bernie Sanders was like, no, we don't want to abolish the police. And Joe Biden just issued a statement, probably from some 20-year-old who works for him because he's sleeping.
Yeah.
I think Nancy Pelosi's response was, I guess that's a decision for local jurisdictions.
That's
Way
what
to
she
dodge the
said?
question.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're drafting a bill on police reform.
Right.
Give us an answer. What's your
Yeah.
opinion? But she was like, local jurisdictions will take care of it. Oh yeah. You will not enjoy living in a city with no police. And I'm going to show you why right now. Check out this tweet. I don't know who this is. Presumably some person just down in Seattle.
Okay.
He said, Seattle rapper and alleged sex trafficker CHAZ assaulted graffiti artists with a huge group of goons just for tagging, forced them out of the zone, followed them 10 blocks, and then one of them pulled a gun on them when they tried to defend themselves.
Wow.
I'm assuming it means one of CHAZ's goons or whatever. So on Reddit, somebody was posting about this, and they posted a video where in it you can hear someone say, "We're the police now."
Yeah, I saw that video.
He's like, "We're the police now. Like, we have to take care of this place."
yeah.
So apparently, though, the dude CHAZ, they were mad because the tagger was tagging up a building that people lived in, and they were like, "We got to keep this clean and safe."
Yeah, you heard him say, like, did you talk to the owner of this building?
Right.
You know, the owner of this building is allowing us to be here. Like, we gotta give respect to the building owner. Like, oh, that's pretty legit. Like, all right, okay. And then the guy's like, F off.
You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to anarchy, dude.
I'm tagging
Who are
this.
you?
Right.
But think about how hilarious that is.
That's just the beginning.
You think it sounds cool that CHAZ was like, "Hey, the business, the guy who owns this building, he's letting us be here." You think that was a cool thing?
Well, I wouldn't say cool, no, but it's a step in the right direction, I guess.
I think it's a perfect example of what these people really want. They want the same power for themselves.
Good point.
So they talk about how, we got to abolish this, abolish that, and the bourgeoisie or whatever. But as soon as they get power, they're like, don't worry, we'll protect the business owners.
Yeah.
We'll protect the rich property owners. Yeah. We won't allow you, a poor person, to write on this building because the property owner doesn't want it. Now, I got no problem with the property owner saying, don't tag my building.
Isn't that like what mobsters would do?
Exactly.
Like, you're under our protection now. Don't you worry. As long as you pay up $500. That's what the business owner was saying. But
here's the point. This guy says, this autonomous thing is all about commune and freedom. Mm-hmm. The moment they're handed the reins, they go doing the exact same thing they accuse the police of doing. They protect the landowners.
It's the will of the people.
Look. If you own property, people don't have a right to destroy it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And there are certain. I'm probably. I don't want to be absolute on this. Like, depending on what the property is, if you're like infringing on someone else's rights in some capacity. But the point is, this dude is just trying to gain the power of the police. Yep. And that's why his goons were like, we're the police now. That's their real complaint. It's like I was saying, dude, during Occupy Wall Street, when they told me about flipping the pyramid, they're like, we want to flip the pyramid over. And a dumb person goes, then all of the poor people will be on top. That's impossible. You can't just make poor people rich and in power. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
No, what happens is the pyramid crumbles into a pile, and now it's a destroyed, dilapidated pile of bricks. But at least those people are on top now because they flipped it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's what it is. Get rid of the police. They say, abolish the police. Look at me. We are the police now. That's literally what they did. They're right now saying we want to abolish the police.
Yeah.
And as soon as they take a space and the police are gone, they assume all that power.
Yep.
And they do the same thing the police did. They just want the reins, man. That's it. So I got this tweet thread from Jake Hanrahan. Now, Jake's a real journalist.
Okay.
Jake has actually covered and gone on the ground and dealt with real extremists and real revolutionaries. That's why I think his thread is particularly hilarious. Because what do you think his opinion is going to be, having actually covered real far-right groups with guns doing military training in Eastern Europe and actually dealing with revolutionary anarchists and things like that?
I have no idea.
What you think when he goes down to this little Antifa thing? How do you think he's going to feel about it?
I expect to get a lot of giggles.
he makes fun of him.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
Look at this. So hold on. Where's he? He posted a picture. Quote, regime encampment. Oh my God, get real. LARPing as if it's Syria. He says, if the regime thing is a joke, then fair play. That's funny. Seems like a lot of so-called radicals are getting very upset about what a journalist has to say on Twitter, though. I just think you make yourselves look silly when you exaggerate a situation, like calling this an autonomous zone.
Yeah.
It'd be very cool if it was the beginning of one, though, and good luck to you. I hope it is. Okay, this is beginning to look more like it. Left libertarian movement John Brown Gun Club turned up armed to do patrols. Now, I don't know much about the John Brown Gun Club in terms of what their goals are.
Okay.
But I really don't like when people confuse Antifa and Antifa-affiliated groups with left libertarian. So this may be left libertarian, perhaps. Just because these guys are armed and walking around, I'm not going to assume they're violent authoritarians who want to impose their will on others. I know a lot of these guys I've seen. I'm not sure which group it was. It's a far left communist armed patrol, like armed militia.
Okay.
But if you watch the videos, they're very disciplined. They're very calm, and they try to keep the peace. They don't sit there and allow people to go nuts. A lot of people don't like it. But look, man, if they're legally allowed to do it, they're nonviolent, and they're trying to keep tensions down, totally fine with it. That goes for the Oath Keepers, the 3%ers, anybody else. I don't care what your ideology is, so long as we can live peacefully, have some real conversations. Yep. So if the John Brown Gun Club shows up, they're armed, they're doing their thing, and they're peacefully, walking around and making sure people don't act a fool, that's cool. That's fine by me.
Word.
Yeah, I don't care.
Agreed.
It's the crazy ones. Again, the John Brown Gun Club had this guy who was an avowed Antifa who went and firebombed an ICE facility. That's why I'm like, we haven't seen the Oath Keepers do something like that. Okay. So I'm not trying to just pass off what these people have done, but be that as it may, I'm not going to pretend like someone marching around with a gun is like the world is ending. And that being said, too, I don't know if you saw the Project Veritas videos they did. The Project Veritas put out these videos of Antifa doing guns training stuff.
Infiltration.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting to see that Antifa, they are an ideological extremist group. They've talked about doing crazy things. They've talked about burning the system down and destroying civilization. You see them doing military training. I think it's valuable to see that they actually have organized training. However, The act in and of itself of doing firearms training and survival training and self-defense training, I got no problem with. Just because they're doing that, I'm like, no. The issue is if they use that training, here's what I see. If these people, like the John Brown Gun Club, go and engage in some kind of act of terror, then you need to consider what their group is, what they do, how they train, and then maybe there's some trumped up charges or something. So there was apparently like a live stream of this. Here's what he says. Jake says, the more I hear about this autonomous zone, on only day 2, the more it seems doomed to fail. Seeing that a load of woke scolds are there, desperate for power by policing people. Also, the armed contingent is smaller than I thought, and seemingly unprepared for actual defense.
Let alone they run out of food already today. You saw that tweet, right?
Well, she was saying that someone the homeless people stole all their food.
No, they said they took the food.
Yeah.
But they invited them in. What do you think they're going to do? They're homeless people. You're giving out free food. They're going to eat the food.
They're going to take your food, dude.
Yeah, they're going to eat it.
And then what did she ask for?
Vegan options.
Vegan options.
Meat
No, hold on.
substitutes, soy-based food. I was cringing. I was like, that is peak privilege right there.
Yep.
We talked about it. It's like being a vegan, you're in a privileged place to be
You've
able
got
to
great
be
options.
able to eat vegan and be comfortable and healthy at the same
But
time.
and not just that, like good vegan options are hard to come by.
Yeah.
So to ask someone to go out of their way,
and
like find
it's not cheap.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
No, but here's the funny part. It's one thing if you said we
funny.
have vegans here, and so we'll just keep that in mind.
Yeah,
because
lots of
then
veggies, potatoes.
Yeah, those are cheap.
Whatever, fruits.
No, she asked for like the high quality vegan meat substitutes.
Meat alternatives.
It's like, talk about the 1% these people, dude.
Oh, man.
I couldn't stop laughing when I saw that. It's like
Adam's gonna love
you
this.
are the reason you're giving vegans a bad name.
Listen,
I don't even care.
It's Seattle.
Oh, man.
Seattle is a wealthy,
Yep.
it's a wealthy enough place. And this young white woman has probably gotten, her parents, she goes, I don't want to eat meat because I believe in fighting for justice. So her parents were like, whatever you say, dear. And then went to the store and bought her the expensive vegan options.
Yep.
And now she wants them. And now she's occupying. And she's like, bring me the expensive options from the health food store. Nothing from Walmart, please. Well, Walmart actually has some pretty good vegan options, mind you.
Actually, they do. They sell CHAZ cheese. Yes.
Well, they got a lot of other stuff too, surprisingly.
And if you're watching this, Field Life, you can
Field
or
Life.
Field Roast. I
Field
think
Roast?
is the please feel free to sponsor me.
Oh yeah,
fun.
CHAZ
some vegan
cheese,
That'd
food.
be
one of my
awesome.
favorite. I got this guy to be in love with CHAZ cheese.
Yeah,
It's
awesome.
good. It's great.
Love
It's
it.
really
It's
good.
good.
I make pizzas with it. And I put pepperoni on it just to spit in the.
Oh man,
Well, whatever.
I still giggle when I think about that tweet, man.
That she wanted.
Yes,
It is.
It just brings joy. I don't know why.
It's satire.
Because it's proof that they're just privileged people.
They're white suburban
LARPing.
kids. LARPing.
Yes. You even said it.
You know, it's like here's
What?
what I imagine. It's like there's a kid, there's like a 7-year-old kid in his backyard playing like cowboys and Indians or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Mom, can you make peanut butter and jelly? But I don't want any crust because the crusts don't taste good. And then the other kid's like, oh, see if she'll get the barbecue chips. Those are good. Mom, can you get the barbecue
chips?
And then she comes out and she's got like salt and vinegar. Mom, I
crackers.
wanted barbecue. Why are you? I
This
want-"
is salt and vinegar, Mom.
And then she's like, okay. It's like Cartman
Oh my
on
goodness.
South Park. She brings the hot pockets to him. Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep reading. I love this thread from Jake. He says, people are mad I'm so pessimistic about it. But this comes after years of seeing radical U.S. leftist spaces destroy and warp the very idea of leftism. I'm not hopeful that this so-called AZ will ever actually become one. For what it's worth, I've been to several actual autonomous zones. He says, check this. Where is the internal security? If you can't autonomously defend the zone, then it isn't an autonomous zone. And then he referenced the guy.
Yeah.
Fun tagger. Here we go. Just saw some stuff about the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. To summarize, woke scolders are drunk on power, policing people's language. Radical liberals told the armed leftists to leave. And now a local rapper is acting as a one-day warlord beating up activists.
2 days.
2 days.
It's been 2 days.
Oh, wait. Oh, and the homeless
there's more?
and the homeless people they invited stole all the food.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect?
You know what, man?
They know how to live on the streets. You
Seriously.
see food
Dude.
being offered, you take it.
Yep. No, because the homeless people know what hardship really is.
Yeah,
And they're probably
exactly.
thinking like, these kids are so dumb.
Yeah,
Best just take the food and
thanks
get
for
out
the
of here.
food.
Yeah.
we're gonna go back to our encampments.
I'm imagining a homeless guy walking up and there's like some gluten seitan, like, hot dog, and he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's a meatless a vegan alternative that was delivered. That's what we asked for.
Well, the Beyond sausage is actually pretty legit.
No, I just
don't know if
mean
you
like
ever
they're
had
gonna
that.
be like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know what this food is.
I
This
don't
food?
want this.
This is great.
Well, they clearly ate it all.
They didn't mind.
didn't care.
Hold on. He says, this is what happens when you allow the professionally offended to overrun the left and destroy it with extreme identity politics.
Wow.
It's not nice or popular to say, but the reality is you can't run an autonomous zone if you let absolute cowards constantly have their say.
Wow. Yes, that is what I'm talking about.
Standing
The
ovation. Jake
professionally
Hanrahan.
offended. That sums it up perfect.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Wow.
Jake's
Nailed
legit,
it.
man. He says, not to get too political, but I actually think genuine autonomous zones are
man.
exciting and worthwhile alternative to hyper-capitalist wage slave hell world. I just don't think the people who took part in this one knew what they were doing at all. He says,
Yep.
getting manhandled for spraying graffiti. They went from anarcho-syndicalist commune to the USSR in 2 days.
Oh man.
Bravo. He's got more. To be fair, though, there's a lot of good stuff going on in the CHAZ, too, from what I understand. We'll be doing some kind of report about that side of it for Popular Front Co. I just wish someone had told them to calm down at the start. So if you're not familiar with Jake, check him out. He runs Popular Front. It's a pretty cool thing. He does real journalism. He's actually documented like right-wing militaristic groups, whatever. Check him out on YouTube. He's a cool dude. But I do think that there's a funny thing you can learn about anarchist society. So there's left and right-wing anarchy, So I know some right-wing anarchists.
Okay.
They're like the true definition of anarchist.
Okay.
And the root of anarchy is without authority. So the right-wing anarchists are basically like, do your thing, buyer beware, let the market decide.
Yep.
Just don't attack other people. Like you can't violate someone else's rights. Like you can't assert your authority over them.
Still very libertarian though.
Well, libertarian is one step above.
Okay.
Libertarian is right. So on the political compass, anarchy is as low as you can go.
Okay.
Then you have left and you have right. The right is the true anarchist. Now the left will argue that's not true. That's not true because capitalism is oppressive. Now shut up. Right-wing anarchy is literally like you're in the middle of the woods, you're on your own. Left-wing anarchy is utopianist. We all hold hands and sing songs together and build a happy farm where everyone gets equal shares of things.
With replicators that produce everything for
Right,
everyone
right.
without work.
Left-wing anarchy, like the far left, is possible in a tiny group. Tiny group. You can't get really big with it. Right-wing anarchy is possible with a very, very, very large group, but it can devolve into monopolistic empire and oppressive, black operations type security. So, the way I usually describe it to people about like the best government you'd ever want is probably in the right libertarian spectrum, because within that you can have your left libertarian society. It doesn't operate in the inverse. In the utopianist ideals, you can't have,
Yeah.
But so anyway, when you see this, I try to explain to my anarchist friends, like the lefty anarchist ones, why they'll never have a large civilization, a large country or anything be anarchist. And they like to reference like Catalonia, and it's like the brief anarchist period or what they had.
What is Catalonia?
It's a
I'm
part
not
of Spain, like where Barcelona's at.
Okay.
And so they had a brief period where it was anarchist. There was no formal government. It kind of just operated. And they're like, that proves it. And I'm like, and what happened to it? It got taken over.
Yeah.
That's the point. You have no, like Jake mentioned, you have no autonomous defense.
Yeah.
So just chaos breaks out.
And here, 2 days later, we already got like a warlord
Right.
happening.
Boom, there it is.
Taking control.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Because in this utopian ideal they have, nobody takes there's no authority because no one tries to assert it. So you have a bunch of people sitting around saying, "Hey, don't leave me alone. I don't know." Then when a warlord shows up, people are like, "Oh man, don't look at me. I don't know." And then the warlord takes over, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever you say." And then he walks in your business and says, "Give me your money." And you're like, "You got it, boss."
Yep.
And there you go. The easiest way to explain it though, if I went back to like historical times, or not historical time, but like ancient, think of it this way. Let's say you got 1,000 people,
Okay.
and they form their anarcho-hippie commune or whatever, and they're all sitting around trying to decide what is the right way. I've seen these things like at Occupy Wall Street, where one person will raise their hand, and then someone will be like, "What do you have to say?" And they'll say, "I say we propose this," and then everybody will like wiggle their fingers
If they agree.
if they agree, or they'll do an X with their hands if they disagree, and it's like 3-4 hours go by and no decision has been made on anything. Let me tell you a story, man. This is hilarious. During Occupy Wall Street, which is very similar to what we're seeing here,
Yeah.
we needed or the occupation needed bins to keep clothes dry.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it rains, people get wet, you get sick. And so they were like, people who have backpacks and extra clothes, we should get plastic bins and keep them dry in the rain. So somebody proposed we buy bins. And then they were like, okay, all in favor of buying plastic bins for clothes. And then we got a couple of these X's. No, we bar it. We block it. And they were like, okay, why do you block it? One person says, I am okay with it only if the bins are recycled because we don't want to support, plastic. And they were like, okay, all in favor of buying recycled plastic bins. People do their little twinkle fingers and then block. Someone goes, it needs to be fair trade. We can't have indigenous peoples being exploited for the production. And they were like, okay.
Where do you find plastic bins that are recycled and fair trade?
I don't even think that's a thing.
Does that exist?
And I don't. So here's can you guess what ended up happening?
They didn't get bins.
They did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh,
can you guess what they did?
Wouldn't have guessed that.
Can you guess what they did?
Bought regular.
They bought regular plain old bins.
Non-recycled.
Yep. Regular. They went to like the local store and just came back with bins, and they were like, yeah, they're fair trade and recycled.
Yeah, sure. We investigated and it's good.
Yep.
Don't worry. Don't ask questions.
And do you think anybody did?
No.
Of course not.
No.
Of course not. So this is the problem.
They're just trying to signal to everyone how virtuous they are.
They create the appearance.
Yep.
So imagine now your 1,000 people are in the fields of Western Europe in the year 1000.
Okay.
And all your little hippie friends are sitting around and you're like, what do we do for food? And then after a few hours, you finally figure it out. Congratulations.
Right.
You're eating something, right? Something happened. But then all of a sudden, someone comes running full speed. They're sweating. They're out of breath. And they go, the evil warlord Zorlan is heading this way with 1,000 men and 50 horses and bow and arrows. What do we do? And they go, I propose we form a phalanx. No, I block. 4 hours go by and they're arguing, and then the dude runs in on his horse and just starts beheading everybody, and then he steals all the women and the food, and then your civilization is gone. To put it simply, while you're bickering about how to handle things, the warlord comes in and just takes it.
Yep.
And that's what happened in 2 days.
2 days.
In the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, they've already got a warlord going around threatening people, defending the building owners.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah. And so I think this is why I really
I just got to say, everyone in chat is hailing Zorlan now.
Zorlan? Hail Zorlan.
Love you, chat.
The barbarian leader, conqueror of worlds.
Hail Lord Zorlan.
Let's do this. Let's give him a backstory. It's actually, the year is actually 2553.
Oh.
And human civilization was purged in a great war and it collapsed. So now it's the future. And a bunch of people discover the ancient text, the Antifa handbook, and they decide to live this way.
Oh, no.
And then Zorlan finds a bunch of fascistic, literature and Genghis Khan history and Alexander the Great, and is like, I take what's mine.
I'm going to take what's mine.
Lord Zolan.
I am Lord Zolan.
And now the world is his.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but this is what happens when, people think that you can have this hippy-dippy, everyone holds hands and sings together.
Yeah.
This is why the American system is actually brilliant. Because we do have that. It's called Congress, and Congress is awful. They're just terrible at their jobs.
Yep.
But the president can pull the trigger, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's really, really brilliant when I think about the American system. They must have been sitting there and they were like, what kind of government should we have? And one dude's like, how about a very hippie-ish democratic thing where everyone sits around and they have representatives.
Makes up rules together.
And they were like, yeah, but that'll take too long and then we'll get crushed by Zorlan, And then another guy's like, ooh, how about monarchy?
How about one guy?
One guy. And they were like, nah, then you'll get families, you'll get tyranny.
Or a girl.
Well, how about this? How about a simple council of elders? A small group of smart elders who understand things. And they were like, no, because you still have similar problems with monarchy and it's not big enough to actually decide for most people. And then one dude goes, brothers.
Checks and balances.
All three.
Checks and balances.
Drops
Bam.
The microphone.
Drops the mic, walks out the room.
Everybody stands up and they're clapping and screaming and they're like, yeah.
The year was
Thomas
1775.
Thomas Jefferson. He's like, mic drop.
What? It was more like, I don't know, what would it be? Like a piece of paper? I don't know.
Quill drop.
Quill pen
Quill
drop.
drop.
Yes.
He drops the quill. Boom, slams it on the table.
Yeah.
And then they're like, aye. No, it's clever. It really is. And so
Yeah, it
they
works.
all, so if, when it comes to laws, we have a legislative branch, and they're slow and terrible.
Yeah.
And then the president can veto or whatever, but they can override him. And then when it comes to war and the common defense, the president can be like, I pull the trigger. So when Zorlan shows up, he goes, nice try, buddy. Beep. And then fires all the missiles. Blows them up. Mm-hmm. Boom. That's why a constitutional republic like ours is probably like the best country that's ever existed on this planet.
Whoa. That's mighty bold of you to say.
Name a better planet. Name a better country.
I love America. I feel like you're not even allowed to say that. And I don't
Right.
care because I love America.
You know why it's the best? There's a lot of different metrics to go by. For one, people are going to complain and be like, but our education system is so miserable compared to these other countries. I'm like, okay, bro, I'm talking about...
I will agree with that. And I want
Right.
the education system to be better. Period.
It doesn't mean that
doesn't mean our America sucks.
No.
Like, no.
It doesn't mean that we're the best at literally everything.
Right.
It means that, first of all, we have a massive country with many different cultures, from the East Coast to the Southeast to the South to the West to the Southwest, Pacific Northwest. So you have different cultures that emerged. Mm-hmm. You have expanding civil rights. Most countries don't have what we have, but you still have freedom, the American dream, a constitution that guarantees your rights.
Boom.
And so you can look at all the bad things America has done. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The past couple months, it feels like they're pooping all over those rights, though.
Oh, it's Swiss cheese, man.
Yep.
Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese.
That's why it's so important to defend it. Mm-hmm. But I've been to a lot of other countries, and some of them are really nice, but what people don't realize, especially in Europe, where they're like, if America is so great, why has Denmark got better education? Because Denmark has, what, like 8 million people in
I
it?
know, it's tiny.
Yeah,
I've driven through Denmark in a day.
Like,
In one day,
it
I
only a
drove
couple
through the whole-
hours?
Yes.
Yeah.
A few hours.
It would be like saying, one state.
You can drive through most of Europe in a day.
If we were to take all, yeah. Well,
Yes.
You probably-
I did it. I've done it
in one
multiple
straight day?
times. No, but I mean, I've driven from,
but into Russia
Sweden
is
to
like,
Germany in
Yeah.
6 hours.
Yeah, but it's like states.
With a barge. You have to take a boat to. 'Cause
That's
it's
but that would be
couple
like
islands.
saying I drove from Ohio to
I know.
Boston or whatever in a day.
Right, but they're comparing it to America.
Exactly. So it's like, why don't you compare New York State to France or
Yes.
Texas to this one country, and then you'll see that things are very, very different.
Yep.
So you look at the European Union as a disaster, complete disaster. You've got states that are indebted and angry and want to leave, and Brexit just happened.
And have left, right? Brexit, for example.
And maybe they'll make it, right? Because we had a civil war. Maybe this is the worst it'll get. Maybe they'll fall apart. I don't know. Apparently France wants to leave now. But
Really?
Yeah. Marine Le Pen, Frexit.
Yeah.
France exit.
Frexit.
Yeah, it was popping up. We'll see if it actually makes it. But France is very much pro EU, a lot of them. But the United States has so many thousands upon thousands of politicians. People don't realize this. I think there's like 7 or like, maybe even more, like 13, 15,000 politicians in this country.
Wow. Right,
Because-
because it's down to the state level,
To
then
the city,
down
to
to
the
county,
county, to the township,
Yep,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's ridiculously expansive in terms of how our politics work, and it works out fairly well, not perfectly.
Yeah.
One of the big problems I think we're facing now, and we'll see if we can stand the test of time, is the cultural imbalance that's happening, which is like the purge of movies and books. The
Yeah.
culture revolution that's happening
Literal
is
book burnings
is
are happening.
a sickness.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's happening in different ways. It's digital book bannings.
Yeah.
And you know what I hear from my lefty friends? They're like, well, I mean, if a platform doesn't want to have it on their, a platform. And I'm like, oh, right, yeah, if a library doesn't want to host the book, we just take it out and burn it in the back, right? That's literally what they were doing. What's the difference?
Yep. It's the
But
same.
Amazon is a private company. It's like, okay, then we need a public company that does what Amazon does. Is that what you're
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah, I agree
How
with
is
that.
it that I am arguing with the left about nationalization of major systems and platforms?
I don't get it. They're
I'm
going
not necessarily-
crazy, man.
I will say, though, I've been leaning a bit towards nationalizing Twitter. I'm like thinking about all the problems.
Okay.
And, bro, Twitter is insane. Jack Dorsey posting a tweet promoting violence.
Yeah.
Straight up promoting it.
And then banning
A woman-
whatever the people
Yep.
all the people on the right basically that post the same video.
He retweeted a clip where the woman said, if we burned all of your buildings down, it wouldn't be enough. So F your Target, F your McDonald's. And it's like, why am I supposed to be like, that's okay, but Donald Trump saying don't loot is bad.
Right.
So therein lies the big problem. If politicians are using Twitter as the main vehicle for discourse, and Jack Dorsey himself is overtly biased, well, we can't function properly in that regard, so we need some guarantees. Well, you don't get guarantees with the private platform. There is no Section 230 protection. There's no Section 230 reform that will make Twitter work. You know what will make Twitter work?
What?
If it was under the First Amendment, period.
Boom.
But the problem with that is that it couldn't function. You can't. No, look, like, because I've DM'd with Jack throughout, since we did the show, we here and there.
Yeah.
And the reality is, advertisers will not be on a platform that has overt free speech. That's why they do what they do. If you get some far right dude saying stupid, crazy conspiracy mumbo jumbo, then Coca-Cola says we're out. That's too prominent for us. We don't want to do it. My argument is, if there's a billboard for Coke on the side of the road on Sunset Boulevard, and a crazy homeless guy holds up a sign saying, QAnon or whatever, or hail Trump or something, you can't get rid of him. Your billboard is now next to this guy. Guess what? Someone takes a picture, boom, Coke next to the crazy guy.
Same thing.
Yeah, what's the difference? So stop complaining about where your ads, what your ads appear next to, but the advertisers can choose. So Twitter says we either go out of business or we censor the right because advertisers like the left.
Yep.
There's only one solution. Taxpayer funded. That probably is the only solution. I'm not saying it's the best solution. I'm not saying it'll work, but I'm telling you, how do YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and these companies just want to make sure the advertisers are happy.
Yep.
The advertisers themselves are biased and don't want to be associated with negative politics.
Boom.
But negative politics is not necessarily bad politics. It's just some things we got to talk about, and they're hard to talk about. So how do we guarantee everyone has free speech? You nationalize social media.
Yeah, I feel like
and then
you're onto something
and then
there.
it's taxpayer funded. I'm not happy with that idea though. I don't know. I'm not even saying that's going to work. I'm just saying I think about all the problems we've seen so far. None of them work.
Yeah.
Like Trump has talked about Section 230,
Right.
which is basically no one really understands, and I'm not going to pretend like I have the best understanding either. The general idea is it protects companies from liability. They can't be sued for what other people post, but it gives them the ability to remove things that they find lewd, objectionable, or violations of law.
So is there a way that we can reform Section 230 so that it's a balance between the two? So they can't be sued for what people say because it's an open platform.
Right.
And then
we
they can't
We would need the
censor it
Republicans to control the House.
to be able to do that.
I think so. I'm not confident the Republicans would do anything because most of them are do nothing, losers anyway. The Democrats are just crazy anti-Trump.
Yep.
The Republicans controlled the House for the first 2 years of the Trump presidency. They got nothing. What did they do? It was
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Worthless.
Worthless.
Yeah.
So maybe if some legit activist, populist types win on the Republican side, you will then see a legislation to amend Section 230 to say you cannot remove content that is lawful. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Right now, the protection they have says they can remove anything that's lewd, lascivious, objectionable, violation of law, or, in other, something like that.
But who makes that definition up?
Exactly.
Twitter does.
Right. And so Trump issued a clarification where he wants the FCC to define what that is.
Good. I like that.
It won't change anything because it'll still require lawsuits and challenging in court. If
But it still opens
a
it up for
Republican
it, though.
majority got in the House, and then they posted, they amended Section 230 and said that you may not remove content that is lawful. Otherwise, you forfeit your protections. Every company would fall in line. Every speech would be protected, and you're done. We're done. You can't post threats. You can't harass people. That will still get a little murky. Like they'll be like, well, that's harassment. Well, okay, we'll take it up with law enforcement. So there will be some challenges there in that there will still be a private first step within the company to take down things they feel are unlawful. But that would absolutely protect learn to code.
Yeah.
It'll protect nasty opinions and political parties.
It would protect OK Dude.
It would protect okay, dude.
Amazing. I know.
We need thicker skin. Humans need thicker skin, man.
Yeah, man.
Everyone's takes offense. They're offended for others. It's
So
come on.
let me come back to that point real quick, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say a Republican majority does get in. They amend Section 230 to say only illegal content can be removed from your site. Otherwise, you are not protected. Advertisers quit. So there's a possibility there, though, that because Twitter is the dominant platform, that advertisers will begrudgingly saying, well, I got nowhere else to go, so I'll do it.
Right.
Facebook as well. However, a lot of people quit Twitter over their, because they have delicate, childish sensibilities. Like, what was that? Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton?
No.
The whiny guy from Star Trek. He would play the kid and he complained all the time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Crusher?
Wesley Crusher.
kid?
Boom. There it is.
Yeah. Wesley Crusher's
Yeah.
kid.
So did you know that Lego released like a Next Generation set and they made Wesley crying? Yeah, he
Seriously?
got really mad about it.
He started crying.
He started freaking
I'm
out. He's like,
willing
this
to
is
bet.
not cool. Why are you doing this? Anyway, the dude threatened to leave Twitter unless they banned Alex Jones. they didn't ban Alex Jones, so he quits Twitter and goes to Mastodon, which is a far left open source version.
Okay.
And then he got attacked for being a bigot and a transphobe and all that stuff, and then he got banned.
Oh,
he's
my
gone.
goodness.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. If he wants to quit, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they banned him and all that stuff, because it was like, it's like ridiculous false accusations, man. Like this dude, he's kind of a whiny dork in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But he's not what they accused him of being. And he should be allowed to be on the platform and speak his mind, as much as I might think he's detestable or whatever.
Yeah.
So if people quit, then Twitter starts realizing they have a dwindling base. Even if they can get advertisers, they make less money. And then the company starts shrinking, retracting. This is one of the biggest challenges they face, in that if one side starts dominating too much, then they lose the other side and their market share starts shrinking. So that causes them to panic. I don't know what the solution is for them, but I do know if you are going to jam your thumb up the bum of our political system, and then we tell you to stop and you go, no, because I'm making money, I'm going to say F you, and it's time to bring out the banana hammer and make them stop, because it's just going to get worse. But let's talk about it getting worse. Let's move on to the next,
Oh, yeah.
the next worse of everything.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
The next worse of everything.
Oh, wonderful.
How many of you watching play Magic the Gathering?
I'm actually
Adam,
curious.
do you play Magic the Gathering?
Not anymore.
No, you quit. You just built a commander deck earlier.
That may be true. You know what's funny? I don't like playing anymore. I sometimes maybe. I like building. I like the designing.
The mechanics.
I like synergy, creating synergy out of the cards that I have. I've been playing for 20 years, so I've got a lot of cards, and that's the fun part for me. It's the crafting of it.
Let's do a real quick context for those that don't know the game.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering is a trading card game. They've got like 20,000 cards now.
Over 20,000 cards.
It was launched. What was the first year? 94 or 93?
93.
93?
Yeah, I think is the first.
So the game's theme is fantasy. There's goblins, there's vampires. You are a planeswalker, and you play against other planeswalkers. The easiest way to explain it to a layman is it's a combination of chess and poker with a fantasy theme. There are some, like I guess technically fantasy. There's some horror sets where the theme is like, there's one set called Innistrad. It's like werewolves and vampires and stuff.
Yeah,
one of the cooler sets.
Cool one, yeah.
But it is very much fantasy. There's also a steampunk kind of set. I guess Ravnica would be fairly steampunk, right?
No. Yeah,
kind of.
Not Ravnica. I forget the name of the set. It was.
There is a. Oh, Kaladesh maybe.
Maybe that's it.
Kaladesh.
Yeah.
So anyway, look, man. When I play Magic, it is a fun game where we sit down and I got this little dude and he's a bird. And when you cast a spell, then he makes spirits, and then the spirits fight the other guy, and then you can draw cards. That's the game. I'm sitting down with my buddy and I'm like, bro, my vampire bites your goblin, you die. And now they've decided they're going to ban cards from the game for being racist.
You
it's interesting because they actually went through something like this before. In '94, there was this. I think it was like a Christian group that went crazy because one of the I don't know. It was like a black enchantment or something. I forget the name of it. I'm trying to look up the.
It was
picture.
Unholy Strength, was it?
Unholy Strength. Thank you.
With a pentagram.
So it
upside
had
down.
a pentagram behind the guy, and he was just like, and getting stronger, and they changed the art. They got rid of the pentagram to appease the people that were. Oh yeah, there you go, right there.
Let me see if I can pull up an image.
Look, there's both of
Oh.
them right there. Boom.
Oh,
Where?
Yeah, there we go.
Right up at the top. You got the one without it, top left. There you go. Boom.
Look.
So there it is. So they freaked out I guess it was in 94. Yeah, I guess in 94. So they were freaking out. They were like, "Oh, look at this. It's demonic. The demons, you're worshiping the devil." And they got rid of it, and then, people stopped caring about it. So they've kind of been through this before.
They've done it before. They've bent the knee before.
But that's the only one. That's the only card that they changed and altered. And they didn't ban it or anything. They just changed the art a little bit. They got got rid of the pentagram in the background.
They got rid of a bunch of cards. Check this out.
Yeah.
So and wow. First of all, they had a card called Jihad, which is funny,
Huh.
and they have a card called Crusade, and they got rid of both. The Crusade one is funny. You know why? It's a bunch of Templar Knights.
Yep.
I think he has like a sword raised or whatever. And do you know what Crusade does?
What?
Gives all white creatures +1/+1.
Huh.
So +1/+1 means +1 strength and +1
It's a little
life,
buff. A
toughness.
little buff to your creatures, basically.
But I guess they're banning it because it's Crusade, which we know what the Crusades
Christianity,
were.
right.
And it's also giving white creatures more power.
Huh.
But now here's where it gets even funnier and stupider. First of all,
Drives me nuts.
here's what you got to understand about this game. There are 5 colors of Magic: white, black, blue, green, and red. And they each represent some kind of force or energy. So green, for instance, is like nature and creatures. Red is aggression and fire. Blue is water and control. White
Spells.
is people. White is people and holy and light. And black is ambition and zombies and necromancy. So these colors don't have any racial correlations.
None.
Zero.
Not
Like-
once have I ever, in my 20 years of playing this game, did I ever connect anything along those lines. Not one time.
Unholy Strength literally depicted a white dude,
Right.
like rolling his head back with a pentagram burning behind him. It is not racial in any capacity.
Exactly.
It is. I think they released a set where they gave words that represented each color, and black was ambition.
Okay.
It
right,
was
yeah.
your willingness to sacrifice everything to gain more power.
Right.
Whereas white was more like white magic, like healing and protecting and clerics.
Yeah.
Literally ancient, regular old fantasy, like white magic and black magic, and then they have green, blue, and red. Okay, one of these cards, Cleanse. I think I don't know if I have the.
I think it's Cleanse, yeah.
Do I have the image here?
Yep, there it is.
All black creatures in play are destroyed. They literally banned a card for doing a normal game function for
Yep.
the game based on black magic.
Yep.
But because the words black is in it and they're destroyed, it's racist. And because Crusade gives white creatures more strength, it's racist.
Insane.
But they literally say it's racist. Look at this.
I don't understand.
Racism. Dude, ban the whole game outright because you have white magic and black magic. Racist. Change them to purple and yellow. We're done.
The stone throwing devils, what's up with that? Do you have an image of that?
So
Isn't it just a couple devils throwing stones?
it's demon-looking creatures on a wall throwing rocks,
Oh.
and they're calling it racist.
What? How?
I don't know. Look, hold on. Maybe I have no idea.
What? Can you?
Is it a reference? Here's what I think. Right, in prison, for instance.
Yeah, that one doesn't make any sense either.
It's just an image of a person wearing like like an iron mask.
Hold on. What does in prison do? Because I think that's just like it just holding a creature down, right?
Yeah, it doesn't
allow
do
them
anything.
to
It's
do anything.
nothing to do with color or anything like that.
So that in
the art.
itself is racism.
Right.
So magic is being racist by saying in prison is racist.
It's because the art on the card, I
What?
guess, looks like it might be a black person.
What?
Does it? Did
I
you
mean,
check it out? I have to see this.
But maybe, I mean, look, Pradish gypsies, I guess, is getting removed because gypsy is a racial slur or something like that.
That I could
like-
kind of understand.
It's a reference to Egyptians. And,
Yeah.
and the roving bands, and then
So in modern Europe, it kind of makes sense because gypsies actually is like a slur, and it's something that you call someone who steals a bunch of stuff because that's very much part of their culture. Actually, measurably part of their
let
culture.
me show you how absurd all of this is. Right. I just showed you the card called Cleanse. All black creatures in play are destroyed. Well, I was explaining this to a friend of mine. They were like, yeah, but I mean, like, are there other cards that destroy other colors? And I'm like, yes, the game is like 30 years old. Of
Yeah.
course they do.
Right.
Here's Perish. Destroy all green creatures.
What? That's racist
That's-
toward green
yep.
things?
To green people.
Yeah.
Green people.
Green people.
Nailed it.
Is that like a deer person?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't get rid of this card. They didn't get rid of this one.
They're not being inclusive enough yet.
So, you know what, man? We are officially in paranoid, delusional cancel culture.
Yep.
It's beyond how look. This one really freaked me out. You know why?
Well, this is the. Are you talking about Invoke Prejudice now?
Oh, no. I just mean, we'll talk about it. I'm saving that one.
Okay.
I'm saving Invoke Prejudice because that's going to be, that's the one that's like, okay, whoa, what were you doing?
Yeah, like you know what? All right, I got.
I'm gonna, and I'll Google it and show you what the image is, and you're gonna be like, okay, like that one. It looks like a bunch of Klansmen with axes. It's like, okay. Anyway, Magic the Gathering is a game where dragons fight vampires and giant golems, you know, punch warriors with shields, and you give magic powers
and
to
angels
your
come down.
gremlin. It's literally just fantasy. It's like Lord of the Rings. It's just like my elf fires an arrow and defeats your goblin.
I heard Lord of the Rings was very racist.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently
This is
that's
not
very
new.
racist.
Yeah.
They've tried to do that. They've
Yeah.
tried to claim that orcs were racist, even though I was reading someone, and they were talking about, because I'm not a big, you know, it's not like I've read everything, I've just seen the movies.
Okay.
And they're talking about how there's actually countries of black people in Lord of the Rings. They're not orcs. There's literally black people in
Yeah.
the books. Like, what are you talking about? You're just trying to make it racist.
Yeah.
Yep.
What freaks me out about this, now look, Magic the Gathering has had its weird run-ins with cancel culture. There was a card shop that had a Kek flag. Do you know the Kek,
Oh
the Kek
yeah,
flag is?
yeah, I know about this.
It was just a little flag in like a flower pot up on a shelf somewhere that someone must have put there without anyone really paying attention.
Yeah.
And then somebody took a picture, and the shop got banned.
Banned.
by so
From
FNM.
FNM.
Not just that. So when you order product to sell, it comes through Hasbro, the company that owns it. So they got severed from this distribution. They couldn't buy product anymore because someone
So
put
messed
a
up.
Keck flag in there and someone else reported it.
Wow.
So I see that and I'm like, okay, it's been freaky for some time.
Mm-hmm.
But when we see this wave of things where it's like EA gives you your like bend the knee prompt,
That
do
was-
you
that's
agree to
insane.
not be a racist?
I can't believe it.
Netflix, and now all of these companies in lockstep are doing this bend the knee to our ideology thing. It's freaking me out.
Yeah.
Now, they've actually, look at this. They said this. Additionally, these cards will be banned in all sanctioned tournament play. All right.
Wow.
Let's talk about woke encroachment on gaming. If you make a video game and you make a character that's, female, I don't care.
Boom.
You ever play Watch Dogs 2?
No, I've seen you play it though.
It's a fun game. I think it's fun. Watch Dogs 1 is kind of weird. The story makes no sense. Watch Dogs 2 is a bit better.
Okay.
And it's definitely like it's like very much an Antifa kind of game. But there's a trans character who's like a major character in the storyline.
Okay.
And it all works. Main character is a black guy who happens to be a hacker.
Cool.
No issues whatsoever. I like it. I appreciate it. I'm like, hey, this is really cool. It's a diversity game, right?
Okay.
They don't do anything to jam anything down your throat. The gameplay is great, and it's how you do it right. You make a fun game with diverse characters. We all have a
No
good
doubt.
time.
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing here is they're literally banning the cards from the game. Imagine if you were playing Call of Duty, and then all of a sudden you got a prompt. It was like, this guy can't be played anymore because he's white. You'd be like, wait, what? Or imagine, Overwatch is a better example. You ever play Overwatch?
No, I never will.
Overwatch is a team shoot 'em up with like a ton of different characters. Imagine if they came out one day and they were like, this character is being removed from the game because he's a white man and people deemed him racist. And now all of a sudden you're like, but I liked playing that character.
Yeah.
It's one thing if they make the game weird with weird characters. Whatever, man. Even when they do it wrong, I'm like, whatever. I just won't play the game. It's another thing if they take a game that's totally fine and they're like, we're going to ban these things because they're functions in the game we deemed racist. Like destroy all creatures that are black. Racist.
Well, someone tagged me in the chat. It said, "What about mass calcify? Destroy all non-white creatures."
Oh,
I
snap.
used that in my deck too.
What's up,
Oh,
wizards?
you racist.
What's up, wizards? Why aren't you banning that? That's even more racist.
Cleanse, that's why.
Because it's everyone that isn't white.
But think about cleanse.
Come on.
Cleanse. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, mass calcify, destroy creatures that aren't white. Man, this is so dumb. Which brings me to the one card where I'm actually... So first, let me say this.
Yeah, this
the
one.
The honorable mention, hold on, is Pradish Gypsies. Because I understand why this word actually is, to many people, a slur.
Is it? I've actually never heard that before.
Yeah, it's a reference to Egyptians.
Okay.
And then it came to represent, like, poor roving
Roma.
bands. Roma. Yeah. And it's considered like a negative insult. You know the word gyp? Like when someone says, like, you gypped me?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like you rip them off.
Right.
So it's got racial connotations in it.
Oh, okay.
I don't agree with banning it. I think they'd be fine because they do something in Magic called errata, where they'll change the language of the card to update gameplay in the future. And you can have an older version with different writing on it and then check the database and see they've changed it. I think they could just change the names of all of these cards and still keep them.
Yep.
Instead, they're banning them outright, which brings me to the actual horrifying card that I have no idea how to actually, like, what were they thinking? You're going to love this one. Invoke Prejudice, okay? It's literally Invoke Prejudice. The art on the card is a bunch of dudes wearing black robes, but they have pointy hoods. One's wielding an axe. And it was inputted in the Magic the Gathering database under the code number 1488.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd
What
this one
were
get
they
in?
doing,
It's
dude?
messed up.
What?
Yeah.
They're just messing with you at that point.
I don't want to
Yeah.
show the image. You
You
guys
don't want to?
Oh,
Yeah, do we
do
have
you have
it?
it posted up?
Well, we'll get
look,
to that.
Look,
I
someone
mean,
else just hit me up in chat. This is awesome. You guys are fantastic. Reign of Terror. You know this card? Which means destroy all white creatures.
So that
It's
is
the
exactly the
opposite.
same. So my
And-
question, Adam,
What?
you're the authority, right? How
Nice.
hard do you?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 20 years playing.
I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're at the authority.
Sure. Whatever.
How hard do you have to be looking to find a racist? You want to call something a
These-
dog
all
whistle?
all of these cards are old. They're
Yeah.
from 94.
yeah.
People don't have these cards. People who've been playing for 10 years don't have these cards.
Yep.
Even me, 20 years. I started
No,
playing.
you have Crusade.
Okay, Crusade was reprinted many
And
times throughout Magic, though, so it wasn't 20 years old. The
Right.
most
Right.
recent Crusade probably came out like 12 years ago.
But
I don't know that for a fact, but
they reprinted a lot of cards
right.
throughout the years and updated
But
them.
most of these, Crusade is the one example on that list that isn't from 1994.
Right.
That they weren't thinking about this stuff. Reign of Terror. It even depicts a black person going like this with a snapping their fingers.
What is it called? Reign of Terror?
Reign of Terror. Look it up. It's insane. Bury all white creatures. How is that not racist? It's the same thing. You can't have it one way and not the other.
Apparently you can.
It's like, what?
That's not fair.
And I
though.
don't care. As a white person, like, whatever. It's a game to me. It's about the color of the game itself. People who are taking offense to this are reading into it and applying they're painting their ideals
Yeah, they're using
into
that
this.
Well, hold on.
And going, well, now see, this is racist. And it's like,
This is interesting, right? Check this out.
okay.
So this image here is Reign of Terror.
Ooh.
And it is not banned. And it says, bury all white creatures or bury all green creatures.
Huh.
Lose 2 life for each green creature put in the graveyard this way. And as Adam said, it appears to be an African tribal guy.
Like a shaman?
Yeah,
Shaman?
Yeah,
shaman.
like a shaman, yeah.
Can't
with
pronounce it.
like, I don't know if he's snapping his fingers or what, but the magic is coming out. This is interesting because you could argue this actually is racist against African cultures because
True.
it's showing him like, hovering.
Don't give
and
them ideas.
No, but the question is, why are they then not banning this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
If this
I know.
is also racist against, non-whites,
Haven't
Mm-hmm. but
gotten there yet.
but the functionality of it
Or against whites and green people.
yeah.
and green people,
Seriously.
those trans deer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on. I think I must show you all the great and glorious invoke prejudice. That was a joke, by the way, because it's supposed to be sarcastic.
Yeah, this.
Oh, what is this?
Now, this makes sense. You know what?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
That's weird.
Those look like Klansmen. Like, come on.
And
What are you doing?
But it's called invoke prejudice.
And it's called
Oh.
invoke prejudice. It's like,
Maybe-
I will concede.
You know what's funny?
That's pretty bad. Come on.
I bought this card not that long ago. 'Cause
Yeah.
I made it. I have a deck. It's all blue, meaning
Yeah.
it only uses this symbol, so it's streamlined. It's a very powerful card.
Yeah, the card itself, what it does is annoying. It's very, very blue. That's a blue card.
Right.
Ugh.
And I didn't even think about it when I got it.
Yeah.
I thought nothing of the image at all. I'm like, I don't know, there's a wizard with an axe. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I read that it got banned, I was like, wait a minute. And I looked at my deck and I looked at it and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now this, and so what they also
And
say,
then you dug into it.
yeah, in the release, it says the multiverse idea of the card was an unfortunate mistake or something like that.
Uh-huh.
No, it wasn't, dude.
No, it was
Somebody,
not.
but I think someone was making a joke. Someone was trying to be edgy.
Yeah.
So the website where you find the database for these cards is called Gatherer. And it's like you can go and look up in the database of all these cards. That's relatively new, man.
Yep.
Compared to the age of the game. That means when they were creating this catalog, probably, I don't know when Gatherer was made, but I bet it was within the last 10 years. Someone was like,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What number should this card have?
Huh.
How about a certain specific number that references people in hoods with
Yeah.
pointy tips and like...
It's so bad.
But, listen. Banning the card is the stupidest thing they could do. The card is fine. Change the art. Move on.
But it was never reprinted.
Right.
It was only printed once in Legends, and that's it. 1994. It was only
It's
printed
an
once.
extremely old card. It's actually worth a lot of money. I'll tell you what. When I got word they were banning this card, you know what I did?
He ran in here looking for his wallet.
I ran in, grabbed my wallet, and I'm like, I gotta buy as many cards as I can. I'm gonna buy these, dude. It's banned art.
Yep.
It's like a banned book.
Yeah, you're right.
They're doing it to movies, they're doing it to books, and now they're doing it to cards.
Gone with the Wind is sold out everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, I
that's how
couldn't
you
buy
do
it.
it.
I tried to buy Gone with the
Yeah,
Wind.
we
Did you?
looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Sold out everywhere.
Sold out. Wow.
Yep.
And apparently they're gonna bring it back and put like an education thing on it.
What, like in the middle of the movie? Like, by the way,
It's gonna be like,
excuse me, this is a public service announcement. This section of the movie is quite racist. So
no.
keep in mind when you watch the next 2 minutes of this 70, 80-year-old movie. I don't know how old it is.
Yeah.
60 years? I have no idea.
Realistically, there's going to be a disclaimer in the beginning. It's like, this movie is a product of its time. More
It's gonna be way worse than that.
you're gonna get to the scene where they're talking about slavery, and there's gonna be big white flashing letters saying this is racist and is bad, or they're gonna do a really awful dub with like modern recording equipment. So where someone's gonna be like, honey, the people in the back, the nice people who work for us, where are they? Like they're gonna just layer in like they're gonna replace the word slave with like
man.
good people who have jobs. I don't know what they're actually going to do with that. I don't know how you actually, how you contextualize an old movie. I think everyone knows the movie's old.
I know how you do it. You want to know how you do it?
How you do it?
You teach people history, and then you go on from there. Now, if you teach them history,
no,
slavery was bad. We got rid of it. You
No.
disagree?
No. The problem with that is, how are you supposed to manipulate them into enacting a communist system if you teach them what causes communism?
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, you got me there.
Right.
I'm sorry.
If you want to create a horrific authoritarian nightmare, and people know the steps involved in creating it because they can read history, you can't teach them history.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
You got me.
Naughty words must be banned.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, we're nailing it.
And naughty movies and naughty
Indeed.
cards of magic.
Yes.
Man, this is making me want to become like just very contrarian.
Me too.
Like they banned cards
whoa,
for being
excuse
racist.
me. You do a quite a good job of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
but
least,
listen-
at
Pretty
least
good
from
at that.
from where I'm sitting. That's funny.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez says, "Hey, big tech companies are spying on us and they shouldn't." I say, "Here."
Yeah.
Like I got no problem agreeing when they're right.
Absolutely.
But seeing this, I'm like, you're literally going to ban a card called Cleanse because you think that one's bad, but you don't think the other one is bad either?
Yeah.
Makes me want to just make a deck of all of the racist cards. I think I'm going to do it.
Do it.
I'm going to start researching all
Well,
the cards.
the quote unquote racist cards.
Right,
Come-
right.
right.
I'm going to make a deck and I'm going to call it like unchecked bigotry or something.
Yes.
And I'm gonna show up to a magic event and I'm gonna be like,
no.
they're gonna be like, so what deck are you playing? Oh, it's the racist one. And they'll be like,
Oh,
huh? I'm like,
cool.
every single card in this is meant to just make people offended,
Yep.
I can
and
see
they're
him
all
doing it.
legal, and there's nothing you can do to stop
I can
me.
see him doing it.
Unchecked bigotry.
Yeah, their minds are gonna
It would be
Oh,
a
no.
terrible deck, mind you.
Yeah, it
would
wouldn't
be
work.
awful.
Yeah, it would be bad unless you're playing against the right color or the wrong
Right.
color.
Oh,
It's-
yeah, I
this
got
one-
it.
You will.
This one, right.
Zing.
No, but I'd be willing to bet they only banned a few cards. I'm sure there are a ton more cards that specifically target, like white or black creatures.
Yeah.
Or permanents or whatever. Card.
Protection from white, circle of protection black. Like,
I know.
I mean, I could probably go for a little while about random. I had a knight deck that had all my knights had protection from white, and I used to think
that's okay,
Wrath
though.
of God would be. They were protected from it. I found out
Listen,
later on when I actually
let me-
understood the rules of
Let
magic.
me break something down for you.
That didn't
Are
work.
you familiar with the great Count Dankula?
I am.
Well, Count Dankula
Yes, I
made a
am.
video where he made one pug
Oh yeah.
raise his paw in a salute.
Rude
I
In
saw
a,
this,
salute.
in
yeah.
a rude,
A rude historical salute.
yes, a rude historical salute, and he got arrested for it.
Yes.
Did you know that Count Dankula made a video where he trained the black pug to do the black power fist?
I did not know that.
So when he said black power, the pug would raise his fist.
This is the best thing.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
And
Didn't get arrested for that.
he did not get arrested.
Equality for the pugs.
Which is
Not
why-
for Dankula.
If you made a deck that was all just targeting all of the white creatures,
Yeah.
You'd be
nobody
fine.
would care.
Yep.
Nobody would care. They're gonna be like, "Hey, stick it to him, right? More power." That one's that's okay. Now-
It's them pushing that narrative when they want to, when it suits them. I don't like that. That's
Yeah.
not equality.
It's
I do-
divisive.
Aren't you fighting for equality?
No, they're
No.
not. They're like, please don't
Clearly
boycott our
not.
cards.
Clearly not.
These people have gone nuts. There's actually a big complaint, I guess, in the Magic community a while ago because they started drawing women really frumpy and fat.
Okay.
So like in early Magic, you had angels that were like busty hot women and things like
like
that.
how you think of angels,
Oh, I don't know, not really. I don't think angels are giant busty women.
This is
know?
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that either.
Yeah.
Really, what do you think of them as?
Like wearing long white
Long white
gowns where you
robes.
can't see their body form and they're
Okay,
carrying
it's like
harps and
pillars.
floating around and stuff.
Yeah.
Pillars and stuff.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. But they
And not always like women. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
right.
good point.
Isn't there
Most
like
of them
male
are male
angels?
angels in the
Right.
Bible. Yeah.
yeah, you hear about all sorts of angels. It's like
aren't
okay.
most of the
They're-
angels dudes?
There are no female angels in the Bible.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
What is that all about?
I don't know.
Oh,
Sexism, probably.
That was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, whatever, man. When people started complaining because they created female characters that were just very like drawn like SJWs.
What's that new the girl with the epic backpack that she could fit anything in?
Oh,
I
what is
forget
it?
her
What was
name.
the Explorer,
Oh,
the
yeah.
superhero?
Yeah.
No, but the new superheroes or something. Oh man.
They literally
Just
made
like that, yeah.
they made Adora the Explorer a superhero except she's older and fat.
Well, that's getting into movies too, though.
And her
It's getting into everything.
I
That's kind of
hate
the
it so
point.
much.
It's spreading. It's like a disease.
Dude, this makes me so mad. Okay, I'm going to rant for a minute because I worked really, really hard to not look frumpy. I spent years changing the way I ate so that I wouldn't look like that. And now that I don't, guess what they're saying to people like Adele? They're telling her that she's caving to the patriarchy for losing weight, and it's making me really
How dare
mad.
you be
Hold on, man.
healthy?
Yeah, man.
Let's go full conspiracy theory here.
Let's do it.
You know what? It's China. You know why? China.
Jada,
You know why?
Go on.
China.
Think about the things they're encouraging. They're sowing racial division, a major vulnerability in our country, but they're also encouraging people to be fat.
Yeah.
Imagine this. A bunch of angry, doughy, different races fighting each other, and then China comes to invade, and it's just a big field of fat people going like, well, I think the law should be allowed. And China's like, look how pathetic and weak they are.
That's amazing.
They're buttering us up, making us fight
Literally.
each other.
Trailblazer.
Yes.
Thank you, RNK.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Trailblazer. That's
As if
the
she
name.
could blaze a
What is it?
trail.
That's the name of that backpack. Social justice warrior.
Dora.
Backpack chick.
Look, man,
Oh my gosh.
they're. Who was it who said that China had the right idea? Was it Bill Gates? Somebody was talking about
have
social
no
media
idea.
censorship.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and they were like, China has the right idea.
Ew. Don't like
Yikes.
that.
No thanks.
China is a horrifying nightmare, dude.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, but you know what? I think one of the biggest problems with liberty is that you have vulnerabilities that authoritarians don't have. So long as they find a way to suppress their population and beat them down without collapsing, they're going to be at a major advantage.
Yep.
So like when you look at COVID, China just welded people's doors shut.
Yeah, they did.
And then they came back and found dead bodies.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they don't care.
messed up.
They don't care.
In the United States, we got civil liberties.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, it didn't work out too well for the most part for us, but you can see how the government tried to suppress, to hold us back, because it is an advantage of an authoritarian dictatorship to lock everyone in their homes and let the sick die, whereas here the individual is paramount. So it's a good thing, but there's a balance between security and liberty, and we opt heavily towards liberty. China, security.
Yep.
They'll if they think you're bad, they'll just chuck you off a building. Like, no way, man, we're not going to risk it.
Yep.
They don't care.
It was a suicide.
Yeah. It was,
No, they wouldn't even do that. They would say, we killed him because he was a threat.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, yeah.
And what are you gonna say?
Yeah,
They
what about it?
they post videos of them torturing people. You see the video of the guy apologizing to the cops? They were like, why did you badmouth us? He posted on some social media site that he thought the cops were dumb. And he was like, I'm drunk. I was sorry. And they were like, are you? And he's like, yes, please. And they upload the video. I want everyone to see it.
Oh man.
So you know who Mark Rosewater is?
Who?
Mark Rosewater is one of the lead developers for Wizards and Magic: The Gathering.
Yeah.
So he held an event, I think it was 2 days ago, and he always does this. Oh, a new set's coming out. I'm gonna tease a few cards. I'm gonna have a game you can play, and you can try to see, guess what card it is, and I'll show you guys. So he played the game Hangman, where you guess a letter.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you mess it up, the next day he apologized.
For playing Hangman?
I'm sorry. It was a terrible idea. I shouldn't have done it. And it's like,
What?
Pathetic.
I'm
what?
so confused.
Absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
There was some woman who got canceled, I guess, because 20 years ago she posted some like offensive memes or something. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't 20 years ago. It was like 10 years ago. And she wrote this long screed of like, I'm so sorry and I learn every day. Your apology is worthless. They don't care.
Nope, they don't care.
They're just a ravenous-
You're already canceled.
Like, could
Yeah.
you imagine apologizing to the zombie horde coming to eat you?
Yeah.
They're like, and you're like, I'm so sorry. You're hungry. I didn't realize that I smelled so delicious. I'll try and do better. And what is their response?
Yeah, it's exactly what it's like.
They don't
that's
care.
funny.
There's nothing you can say. Like trying to
You're feeding the alligator.
you're arguing with the pack of the swarm of piranhas coming to devour your body.
Or that guy that just got fired from what is he was the elongated man on Flash.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Because he had
actor.
some stupid tweets
You
just
know,
trying
they
to.
were really gross.
They
though,
were
man.
They were
really
weird.
bad.
Yeah.
But why didn't anyone care then? Now they're searching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone.
It's a witch
Inquisition.
hunt.
No,
Yeah.
Inquisition.
Yeah,
Yes.
you keep saying it.
Yes.
Literally Inquisition.
Yeah, and they keep proving you're
And
right.
you know what, man? Do you
don't
know
like
what
it when
comes
you're right.
next? Listen, I talk to my individual friends, and they're like, I've been talking to a lot of my friends lately. I'm like, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
Like they're banning books, movies, games. It's like a purge. Statues are being torn down. They
Yep.
defaced Abraham Lincoln. And the response I get is, but those are the bad seeds. I'm like, you moron. People are literally dying. Some cops have been killed. You say, but those are the fringe elements. They're the ones who take control after you get your ideology pushed through.
And Chicago had the most deaths. I don't even know.
Since the 60s or whatever.
Yeah,
in
it
a
was
single
insane.
day.
It's insane.
Yeah.
How
Yep.
many people are getting shot?
And they're like, but we're the good guys. I'm like, no, you are the mindless masses providing cover for the insanity.
Yep.
Because what happens is when you all band together and start demanding that a company bends the knee, then the extremists come in and say, see that mob? They're with us. Do what we say or else. And then the company say, okay.
Definitely.
So you end up with that Sheraton hotel owner graciously giving up his building.
And all these companies, we're with you. Keep buying our products. Keep buying our
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
That's all I'm seeing.
You know what worries me? These people who are getting canceled and banned, they're not just going to wither up and, die. They need money somehow.
Yeah.
The people who get banned from social media. Alex Jones, he made his own website.
Yep.
So you're going to create parallel systems.
It's true.
And then you're going to end up with people finding resources through other means, and then you have no ties and nothing holding anyone back. The funny thing about all of the social media bannings and the firing, like Roseanne getting fired and these staffers getting fired, is that if they really wanted to, they could use that, say, give an apology, and we'll make it a PSA, and then we're good to go. Instead, it's like, no, we're going to get rid of you. It's the Inquisition,
You're done
baby.
forever.
That's a mistake.
Yeah.
That will cost them power. So these people who are apologizing, a lot of people are saying it's a struggle session. It's like what they used to do in the Chinese, communist revolution. They would make the people confess to sins they didn't commit,
Okay.
and then humiliate them in public.
Oh, that's weird, because I actually read an article about that today, or I saw a headline about that's exactly what they do in the Chinese prison camps still. They give you a list of crimes to pick off of, and
Yep.
then you commit to pleading guilty, and that's
Wow.
that. You're in. So you're guilty.
And this is where we're at now. They will come for you, and the scary thing is no one is safe.
Yep.
So right now, it's an inquisition. We had cancel culture. This was the budding, the growth. Now it's a literal inquisition where people are getting purged. They're hunting them down. Everyone, regular people. Okay, listen. Cancel culture for a while annoyed a lot of people. They would find a celebrity and then find a tweet they post and it'd be like, aha. Now you have Twitter accounts where they literally go to random high school girls. And they're like, you know what to do. We're exposing them.
No, now it's even worse. It's way worse. I'm seeing this now. It's being spread around. What you do is you take a picture. You go on the person's page. You find a picture of them. Put some text.
You fake it.
Post
you
it.
make it
Look
up.
at what this person said.
Yep.
Canceled.
Yep.
It's been going on. It's happening right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
So it's lies.
Welcome to the Inquisition. Do you know what comes next?
Yeah, what does come next?
Cassandra Fairbanks posted on Twitter the audio of the 911 call where she's crying with their daughter saying there's people shooting guns at my house and fireworks.
That's the
And
next
they're-
step.
Yeah. And then they come to your house. And so right now in New York, they have given immunity to Black Lives Matter protesters. Not even kidding. They straight up said if you are protesting for Black Lives Matter, you will not be charged with a crime.
Any crime.
Related to the protesting,
okay.
low level. So if you're looting or rioting or something, but so if you basically go out, commit a low level offense, and you're a churchgoer, oh, sorry,
You'll
we
be
favor
prosecuted.
one ideology. This is how it starts in Fort Worth. They specifically stated all of the people arrested on rioting charges will have their charges dropped. Rioting charges, not protesting.
Wow.
Dude, that's
rioters.
in Texas?
In Fort Worth.
I'm
Yep.
surprised and don't
Yes,
like
sirree.
that.
And now we're seeing all these companies bend over backwards. Look, man, the dominoes are falling over. It doesn't matter what the well-to-do liberals say about the bad seeds and the bad eggs. No, it's all happening. All right. So if we're going to assume the dominoes keep falling over, what happens next? We're getting dangerously close to a point where an angry mob shows up to your house and the cops say it's easier to arrest you than to deal with a mob. So let's say you live in a small town. Your small town has 10 cops on duty.
Okay.
And a mob of 300 people come from outside your town, show up at your house. What are those 10 cops going to do? Nothing. And so they say, sorry, can't help you. And then you get beaten and dragged onto the street and strung up. That's why these companies are bending over backwards, because they don't want to deal with it. It's like I've been saying, man.
They're afraid.
They know Antifa will show up with bricks and firebombs, and they know that the right won't. So they're scared of the left, and they all bent over backwards for them. And now they have massive institutional power. So we may see, because of all of this weird fringe culture revolution stuff, a horrified suburbanite demographic voting for Republicans and Trump in droves. I don't think that's necessarily going to change anything. A lot of the Republicans did literally nothing when they had all branches of the government.
Yeah.
Not only that, some of them agree and they don't like Trump. You still have you have a small faction of Republicans who think Trump is an insurgent and they don't like him.
Yeah.
So it's not a guarantee
there's also
anything
a lot
changes.
of Democrats that go in deplorable, Democrat to
For sure.
deplorable.
For sure.
You know?
I'm just saying
me included.
we don't know exactly what will happen. It could be that a lot of people are just not paying attention and don't care.
Yeah.
And then the Democrats win and take over, and then these things get steamrolled through at such rapid speed. If the Democrats in New York are willing to give immunity, if Fort Worth is willing to drop rioting charges, they are granting ideological. They're giving privilege to their ideological group. Well, if you're not part of that, they will come to you and they will drag you on the street, put you on your knees, and say, "Convert,
Yep.
join us." And if you say no, then you get locked up or worse. Now, I don't know if/when that'll happen, but I'll tell you this, man. I didn't think they were going to show up at Cassandra's house as fast as they did.
That was fast.
It was the same day.
I mean, I watched her tweets. I follow her, and I was like, okay, whoa, you're kind of goading them right now. She goaded them.
She was trolling.
She trolled them to no end.
Yep.
And it's
And
like,
they showed up at her house.
I'm not condoning it, but it's like I wasn't surprised.
That they targeted her.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this country, you're not allowed to shoot at people's houses.
Right.
You have a right to free speech.
Mm-hmm.
Even
That
if
is-
they say crazy things.
Yep. And it's all going away.
It is.
Yeah.
So you think about what happened with the rioting in New York
messed up.
when I referenced this guy's tweet where he said he called the police and the police said, "Our city is under attack. What would you have us do? Do what you got to do."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to come to a point where a mob shows up and you call the cops and they're like, "There's 300 people. What do you want us to do?" Oh, I hope you armed yourself and you're protecting yourself. I don't think the average person has to worry about it, but I also think we have a serious problem with regular people not standing up.
Yep.
And they're scared of getting canceled. But the more you don't speak up, the more they think they control things and the more companies bend over and more resources they gain. They are counting on your refusal to speak up for what you believe in. Now, many people may secretly go and vote for Trump. I think that'll only make it worse. You know why? Because these people are so convinced that they're the majority and they're right, and the polls reflect it, that certainly if Trump wins, he must have cheated. And so then what do you think they're going to do?
Revolt.
Yeah, they're going to be like, he cheated. It's not real. They're going to challenge him in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court might flip. You know, it might rule in favor of them. Oh no, we saw what happened in North Jersey with the voter fraud stuff, the mail-in voting, 3,000 votes being disqualified.
Yep.
All it takes is for them to say, "Look at the lines in Atlanta," like they've been doing. Oh no, the lines are so long now that we couldn't fairly vote. Trump cheated. We must have the Supreme Court remove him.
Yeah, I saw a video. AOC was pushing for mail-in voting.
Yep.
It's like, no.
At first, the reason for mail-in voting was COVID. Now that COVID is over, what are they saying? Oh, it's because of long voting lines. They keep
what?
Because they just want to get it.
So
They
make
want-
it a national holiday to vote. Hello, why aren't we doing that?
Yeah.
If you want to change the rules, I say you do it after the election. You don't do it on election year.
Boom.
Because
Agreed.
that's what they're doing.
yeah, they're trying to change the game.
Yeah, 5 months before.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Seriously,
insane.
That's absolute insanity.
Absolute insanity. So, you know what, man? You should, for those that are listening, go watch documentaries on the Spanish Civil War. A lot of crazy similarities.
Yeah.
When you, I was reading tweets from somebody saying that George Orwell had spent time in the Spanish Civil War. I guess I don't know if that's true, but it was a response to Majid Nawaz, who tweeted the quote from 1984 that the streets had been renamed, the statues had been renamed, history has been stopped. We're seeing all this now. Statues are being pulled down.
Yep.
Streets are literally being renamed in New York City. They're actually renaming streets. They're going to take down a bunch of statues across the country. Some of them I kind of roll my eyes at, like, it's kind of dumb we had these statues in the first place. But the way they're doing it is lawlessness.
Yep.
They
Agreed.
show up in the middle of the, now they're showing up in the middle of the day. They used to show up in the middle of the night. And now they just all dance and sing as they tear it down. And democracy be damned. They don't care. I guess we'll see how things play out, huh? But I'll tell you what, I say that all the time.
Yes, you do.
I always,
Yeah, you do.
but here's why I say this. Because I always say, here's what I think's going to happen. I guess we'll see. And guess what? I've been decently correct on what we could expect.
Yeah,
Annoyingly so.
I will only hold on to 2018 as proof that Tim is not always right, because he makes some pretty scary predictions. I'm just hanging on to that midterm election from 2018, I think it was.
Yeah, I
Yes.
didn't consider that Trump's base wouldn't turn out.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
There's some things you just can't account for until it happens, which
But
is
I don't
why,
I don't think I don't think my predictions are always right.
right. That's
because
why you say we'll see how it plays out.
I'll
But
tell you what,
it's-
though. I hope I'm wrong about Hillary being the VP.
Seriously, stop
Hillary
saying that.
VP.
She's-
I don't think so.
Biden just said today, I don't know if you know this, everyone. Biden just said today that we need a strong VP. The one I choose needs to be ready to be president on day one.
He's gonna drop dead.
Yeah.
During the inauguration.
What
He's gonna
kind
go,
of president running for president says that?
Joe Biden.
What?
That kind of president.
They're gonna.
Coherently.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Funny enough.
They're gonna be doing the inauguration. He's gonna be standing there, and they're gonna be like, "Put your hand on the Bible," and he's gonna go. He's gonna put his right hand up, and then his left hand's gonna go.
He's gonna die.
And then he falls over.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, I'm scared.
Bad.
What's gonna happen?
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you what's gonna happen now. We're gonna read some super chats.
Super
So
we
chats.
do
if you
control.
have not done it already, smash the like button.
Yes.
He said it.
He said it.
Smash it.
Give a little tap.
Smash that like button.
Pop that, prop it up. It really does help. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Timcast. And I post on Twitter. I'm complaining about silly things all the time. Instagram is going to be pictures of cats, probably. Skateboarding, maybe.
Yep, that too.
But you can also follow Adam Krigler
Yep, right
on
here.
Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, you can send him story ideas.
Yep.
And he posts threads. That's how you can send us stuff. We do use your story ideas for the show.
Yeah.
And then you can also follow at Sour Patch Lids, LYDS, on Twitter, where she, I don't know, what do you post on Twitter?
I talk about philosophy, and I really like to talk to people, and I like to post memes.
Oh, yeah. And so
Spicy
can people send
memes.
you stuff too?
Yes, they
There you
can,
go.
and they do.
Oh.
My goodness, do they ever?
Excellent. Well, now we must take your questions. So we do for the most part, first come, first serve, but we can't get to everybody, so we'll just start reading.
Yep.
Flood says, Tim, please refer to the City Hall Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ, in Seattle, henceforth as Fort Furry. Thanks, Adam. Please spin the UFO.
I knew it was coming.
Such a great
Spin the
idea.
UFO.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
I like that name.
Big Mac Attack says, good evening, Baron Von Beanie, Soyberian Jesus, and Lydia of Whiterun. Hey, Tim. Just had a thought about the CHAZ. Couldn't city officials have the power turned off and disconnected from the free zone on the grounds that it's a foreign entity? Yeah, but
That's a good
But the
point.
people who live there aren't part of this.
That's also true.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just minding
That's
their own
not
business.
fair.
Now they're getting shakedown.
stinks.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I got a soy berry and Jesus.
Soyberian.
That was excellent.
Yeah, there you go.
I've leveled up.
Truly
everyone.
excellent.
Grim Soul Banisher says, I came late. Spin the UFO for us, please. Well,
All right,
I'll give it
gotta
another.
do it.
I'll
Do
give
it.
it a little love tap.
Yorkshire Tom says, easy way to sort the CHAZ situation. Cut power and water to the area. Siege tactics work. It's why they haven't changed in centuries. Yeah, but the businesses aren't involved. It's just the streets.
Yeah, and I guess a bunch of people live there too, like 500 houses.
IB Rippenham says, Fart Shoot is getting thousands of new subs a day, but the liberal extremist group Fartifa is trying to have me censored. Please fight for me, guys.
I will fight for
I
you.
will fight for you till the end.
Luke Walters says, thoughts on ranked voting, particularly as a method of improving electability of a third party? I'm generally for it, but I don't want to pretend to be learned enough to know if we should actually implement it. But are you familiar with ranked choice voting?
No, tell me about it.
So right now, one of the biggest problems in voting is that people say, don't vote third party because then you're helping so-and-so win.
Right.
Right,
That's
okay.
So
I
what you
said
do
to
is you get a list of like 10 candidates and you number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's say it's Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And you're like, man, I really don't want Donald Trump. I'm going to give, Gary Johnson a 1, meaning if Gary Johnson doesn't win, that vote transfers over to my second choice.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then you say
Interesting.
my second choice would be Trump. Then when Gary Johnson inevitably loses,
yeah.
Trump gets your vote. So the idea is then
Interesting.
people who are scared now to vote third party because it means the bad candidate wins won't be scared. The third party might actually win. Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Interesting.
I don't know enough about it. I'm sure there are a lot of pitfalls and negatives that we haven't talked
I'm
about.
Sure.
Yep.
But I think first past the post, what we do now is broken.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird system. They say like one person, one vote is the right way to do it. And I'm like, I don't know about that, because then you get minority rule and you end up with a two-party system that most people are begrudgingly accepting.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a better way we can do it, but I don't know for sure, man. Let's see, where are we at? Chronoflation says, Tim, when you getting a locals page? I don't know if I will. We'll see. But I don't know. Daniel Ashley says, occupation snowflake. Yeah. Shah Akal Barali says, is a new enemy or World War III the fix for this mania? I don't know.
I mean, if we go to war with China, you think this is going to end? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would say so. Common enemy.
Yep.
Mike Depew says, you're a tanker of happy in an ocean of sad. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's very nice.
PJ Brannigan says, homeless people may have took all the food in CHAZ. We heard they did.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Kruger says, hashtag all ball.
Yes.
Yes, we've not forgotten.
Keeping it alive.
That's right.
Ajit says, I have declared a free beanie zone at my home. No rules, no bedtimes, pizza every meal. And if my mom tells us to quiet down, we can all demand some tendies together. There you go.
That's the way to do it.
IR Long says, hey guys, just wanted to say thank you for being such a great show. It's comforting to find some real liberals who aren't trying to destroy the nation.
Word.
Yeah, trying to protect it.
Right
huh?
on.
Ryan E. says, you guys should look up Yuri Bezmenov's KGB ideological subversion exploration from the late 80s. It sounds familiar to what we're currently experiencing in the U.S. I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
And some people have said that the Soviets implanted this subversive cultural plague.
Okay.
And now they're long since dead, but the virus still persists. So it's like we're being torn up from something they did, but they don't exist anymore. Mark says, can Tim please say Jada?
Yeah. Boom. Done.
He can.
Nailed it.
Falls Russ says, once Starlink is open to the public, I think I'll get a bug-out van or motorhome and just head into the West Virginia mountains. Matter of time before protests happen here in Fairfax County, Virginia.
Probably.
Everybody is going to West Virginia. I hear from everybody.
Yep.
It's going to become the most populous state.
Yeah, probably.
Louis Estrada says, what would 20-year-old Tim Pool say today? And would he bend the knee? No, he was way worse. 20-year-old Tim Pool would just be cussing and swearing at everybody and telling him to F off. Yeah, 20-year-old Tim Pool was like jumping fences and trespassing a skateboard. Didn't care about any of this stuff.
Classic.
Although I think 20-year-old Tim Pool was watching a bunch of like loose change and like Alex Jones stuff. Maybe a lot is an exaggeration. Maybe some when it comes to politics. Deplorable Pirate Captain Gunbeard says, I think we are seeing the far left lash out mortally wounded animal. Like one? The establishment media they took over is dying, and this is their last chance.
It's true.
So they're going nuts.
It's definitely what it feels like.
Goliog says, anime right, weebs for Trump. A lot of us anime fans voted for Trump because we're SJW moral authoritarianism, literally the Christians of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Because of. Joseph says, I'm now in a remote camp in Alaska for 30 days, and I still get no news updates from you. And I still get to get news updates from you. Oh, awesome.
Nice,
Cool.
nice.
Glad to hear it.
Right on.
Scott Judd says, petition to rename TimcastIRL to Timfo Wars.
Yes.
No.
I love it though.
But
That's
maybe
not
we
ours.
could we could make a parody channel.
That'd be so fun.
Sure.
John Vanderswet says, would love to hear about your thoughts on the 1980s Yuri Bezmenov KGB and today's America. I have to rewatch it. It's been a long time. Floorboat Adjacent says, great. Just watch the orcs get banned from MTG now. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry if we did that.
Septima
Not
says,
sorry.
Adam, what was that clothing brand you were talking about yesterday?
1620 Workwear. It's I think Massachusetts based, 100% made in America. They everything from the cloth to buttons, anything and everything. They have it all made here. It's awesome. It actually used to be my team manager for Burn Helmets. He started a company with his friend. I think it's like 5 years ago now, and man, they're quality. I got a pair of pants from them, really good. They're stretchy. Well, they have different ones, and I skate, so I need stretchy pants, and they're legit. Yeah, check them
Awesome.
out.
Very
Lifetime
cool.
guarantee.
1620.
USA made.
Cool.
The Rising Refugee says, with all these people boycotting racist things, when are they going to boycott the internet because of all the racist things on it?
Ooh.
No, they're just going to boycott all the racist things and anything they say is racist, which is basically anything they don't like.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Science Man says, Wizards has pulled so much BS recently. I'm really tempted to sell my card to just stop playing. P.S. Just bought 500 Freedom Seeds. Invest in training, Tim. Freedom Seeds, is that what they're called?
Freedom Seeds.
Yeah. Connor Greenwell says, been sharing your videos a lot. Many ignore them. The conservative and military types share it. And the Still, I love your work. Adam and Lydia are cool too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jean McLeod says, I love the quote from Mulan by the Emperor of China. No matter how the wind howls, the mountain cannot bow. Be the mountain, do not bow. P.S. Your masks are coming soon.
Woohoo,
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Word.
Samuel Eddy says, I should go become the warlord of CHAZ.
Yeah.
Look, if
someone's gonna go do that. They're gonna take over.
What would happen if a bunch of like right-wing individuals just walked in?
Let's do it.
It would be chaos. The people would be panicking, like, what do we do? And they'd be throwing rocks at each other, and they would lose because they lose every time.
They're very disorganized.
I'm not saying it should happen. I'm saying that's probably what would happen.
I see it happening. If someone's gonna be like, I'm gonna go take that place. They can't
you
stop
think
me.
so?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's people with militias and friends. They're like, let's go take that place.
Well, so here's
It's not the U.S. anymore. It's free spot.
It's free territory.
So apparently the gun club people were armed because they were concerned that white supremacists would come. What are you gonna do? You're gonna shoot them?
Yeah.
No, you're not. If a bunch of Proud Boys showed up and walked right in, what would you do about it?
Run away.
Nothing. Not one of those people is going to shoot anybody, and it's absurd for them to claim they would. If they came with just their shirts on, nothing else, what are you going to do? They're gonna form a line and they're gonna link arms and they're gonna be like, "Don't let them in," and then they'll walk in the other street, and then like 10 of them will walk around and walk up behind them and be like, "Hey guys, it's Seattle. What are you gonna do?"
Yeah.
Again, not saying it should happen. I'm saying that it's ridiculous. They think they can stop anything. Shun says, Tim, Adam, and Lids. Fun question for you guys. If you were non-commie furries, what would your fursonas be? By the way, you guys keep me sane daily. Also, is there a Twitter follower management? Because I want to unlink myself from the dogma. I have no idea about anything having to do with furries, and I couldn't comment.
Same here.
Yeah, I don't know.
No clue.
No idea. Sean Easton says, okay, Lydia or Adam, please look up the CHAZ from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I never watched the show, but it's a character who uses his name as an adjective, i.e. you just got chazzed. I can't.
Oh, gosh.
Wonderful.
David White says, Tim, I've watched every video for over a year. Great podcast to you all. Consider Cheyenne, Wyoming. 80 acres for like $60K with a water well and electricity, plus no permit needed for concealed carry of a firearm. That does sound pretty nice. Christopher Mero says, start a new movement. All Black Lives Matter. I posted they cancel culture is 21st century book burning.
Isn't that already trending? Because there was like a trans black woman that got beat up
during the riots. Yeah.
During the riots.
And it was funny because no one wanted to admit it was during the riots.
Right. But it totally was.
Dude, these people have spent no time in the hood. They have no idea what they're talking about.
No.
The interesting thing to me is how a lot of black people vote Democrat, but many of them are very conservative. Like they are. Like they're very traditionalist. They're very religious. But
Democrats are the problem.
I mean, for the most part, you either have idealistic and naive or corrupt and manipulative. But to be fair, it's only recently that there have been better Republicans. It's all been the same forever. And the only reason I would say the Democrats now is because you've got Dan Crenshaw, Rand Paul, and who else is there? Matt Gaetz, I guess.
Thomas Massey.
Tom Massey.
I like Tom Cotton. Some people don't, but I like Tom Cotton.
Yeah, you're seeing a bunch of the old guard retire and a bunch of newer Republicans come in. And the issue is, I don't agree with them on policy in a lot of ways, but on principle. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, the right to gather, First Amendment.
They stand for what they think, whether you agree with it or not.
Yep.
I like that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
Thulsa Howdy Doom says, I got to say, George Orwell called it. Yep. Mr. Scratch says, the longer that these protest riots go on, the more racially polarized people are going to become.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
They are seriously creating a divide.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're...
Where there wasn't one before. I mean, not to say some people out there are racist, because it's true. There are racists among all races. Listen, there's a few people that are racist, no doubt.
White supremacists like all of this.
I'm sure. It's creating a divide.
No, they want to create what they call a racial consciousness or a racial awakening in white people.
Yeah.
So there's actually a thread. I don't know if I have it, but it talks about. I actually do have it. Let's read this.
Oh, here.
This guy, Konstantin Kaisen. I'm not sure who he is. What is he? He's a winner of Jewish Comedian of the Year and host of the Triggered Pod. Centrist Chad. Here's what he writes. I'm going to read you this whole thread. It's very, very important. He writes, You're going to hate me for writing this. You're going to resist what I say because you don't want it to be true. You're going to pretend that I want this to be true, when in fact there's nothing I hate more than the fact that it has come to this. Here's what happens next. If protesters continue to deface monuments like Winston Churchill's statue and burn British flags on the cenotaph, you will see groups forming to defend them. These groups will be composed primarily of young, angry white men and led by people with links to groups like the EDL and Tommy Robinson. This is already happening. The groups will gather in city centers to, quote, defend our country. They will have names with words like patriotic British defense in them. Inevitably, they will clash with the current protesters and the police under pressure. From the media and political class, the police will overreact. They will treat these groups differently to the BLM protesters. They will use force. They will detain people for breaking lockdown rules. They will issue stiff sentences. The media will do the opposite of what they did with Black Lives Matter. Instead of talking about how, quote, 27 police officers were injured in largely peaceful protests, They will run major front page headlines like 27 police officers injured by far-right violence. At this point, the majority of the public will lose the ability to be nuanced. The double standards will be too obvious to ignore. Fueled by a constant stream of images of white people kneeling, washing POC feet, and publicly apologizing as they already are, they will conclude that their very identity is under attack. At this point, all their sensible aversion to supporting thuggish far-right groups will evaporate. They will believe they are in a war for their survival and extreme measures are justified. At the next election, which will likely be brought forward for one reason or another, fueled by mass unemployment resulting from the economic depression, far-right parties will make significant inroads. When I say far-right, I am not talking about what the far left call far-right, such as anyone who talks about controlling immigration. I'm talking about genuine far-right parties that talk about reversing immigration and deportations. These parties will not win seats or get anywhere near government, but they will put a UKIP-like pressure on the conservatives. Boris Johnson will likely be ousted as too soft and liberal and replaced by a law and order hardliner. From here, I'm afraid, the journey is all too obvious. The only way to prevent this is to reverse the re-racialization of our society. Either we learn to live together or the very idea of a multi-ethnic society is over. End. I completely agree. And there's another article that talks about this that says, quote, far-right groups are already showing up in the UK to defend and to fight back. And you already have the sentiment in the US that you have clearly one ideology that is favored by the police, Fort Worth, New York, and the racetrack in North Carolina that claimed to be a protest got shut down.
Yep.
So what is anyone going to conclude in this?
It was an imminent threat, the governor said.
Did you hear about the Naval Academy alumni or whatever who had his Facebook, conversation leaked or something?
Mm-mm.
So apparently the story is this guy was sitting with his wife and he somehow accidentally started a live stream on his phone through Facebook.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they started talking about Black Lives Matter. And he basically said exactly what this dude said, that white people can't speak up anymore. They're under attack. They're losing their jobs. How does this make sense? Then some racial slurs got dropped. He was forced to apologize. But this is a very important story because it shows you that, this guy, I didn't listen to the conversation. It didn't sound like he was overtly racist, but it did sound like he was angry that he as a white man was being attacked simply for being white. There are memes about this where it's like, you've got a bunch of people saying something like, you're white and you're bad.
Okay.
So then all the white people band together and they go, oh no, they're forming, evil groups. And it's like, you threatened them. You insulted them based on race. So they did exactly what anyone would expect them to do. They created a group based on what they were being attacked over. So I think things like this are obvious. I think it's likely.
Yep.
And then this is what I warned about a couple of years ago, that I don't think Antifa could ever really win. They're too pathetic. They don't have guns. They're whiny and they collapse under pressure.
Yep.
And when they finally do see a few blocks, they're like, please bring us vegan meat substitutes. As a sign of their privilege and their expectation of what they're owed.
Yep.
So here's what I think is a likely potential for what we'll see, coming off of this statement from this guy, Constantine. The far left and their constant rioting and their attacks are creating a secret base of Trump voters. Trump and the Republicans will win. The left will freak out. They'll get even more aggressive, and regular people will say, please just make it stop. Yeah. And Trump will, by sending in the military, invoking the Insurrection Act, and shutting it all down. The people will beg for the authoritarian police state, and they will get it. And then you will have this constant fear in people's minds, which will result in, like what Constantine was saying, a bunch of far-right groups start emerging. Then you end up with, more white identitarian politics, and people just start reverting to the rules of the past, 40 or 50 years because they're scared.
Yep.
And that's the fault of the left.
This actually kind of worries me because I think the far left pushes so hard to the left because they only ever think that they will win. And I don't think they recognize that their action is going to cause a very strong opposite reaction, because it turns out that people don't really like the far left all that much. They don't like being controlled. They don't like authoritarianism. It's
not just that. It's that you're right. But it's also what we're seeing from these leftists goes against the grain. So when you have somebody who grew up in this country and they're like a dude and they're like, I like playing football and I like attractive women. I like women with big boobs. And then they get told they're wrong and to shut up and you're toxic. They get angry. It's not even about being white. It's about being told that everything you do is toxic all the time, and no matter what you do, you're wrong and you're bad, and they get angry and they hate it, and they want to find somebody who they can relate to.
Right.
What the left is trying to do is essentially rewrite normal human biology.
Yeah.
They're trying to claim that
Good point.
they say that there's they've literally said that biological sex isn't real. And they love playing this game where they're like, literally no one believes that. And it's like, dude, what's the guy's name? Nicholas Matt. Yeah, in the debate with Jordan Peterson, where he was like, basically, it is not true that there's a thing as biological sex.
And we can unpack that at length.
I'm a historian of medicine. I can unpack that, but for the interest in the interest of time, I won't. They really do believe it. When J.K. Rowling came out and said, I respect and love all of my trans friends, and I will fight for you, but I have the lived experience of a female and believe that should be protected, she got attacked for it. Mm-hmm. So you take a regular person who knows nothing, right? Mm-hmm. And put them in front of a fascist who says, family, God, tradition, and they're going to be like, I recognize these things. And they're going to say, baby, it's cold out night. I remember Christmas when I was growing up. You take the far left and they're going to say, you're not actually a woman, you're a menstruator. And they're going to be like, what?
That is so insulting.
Yeah, and who do you think they're going to pick? The crazy person smashing windows? Or the dude who walks up with, he's got the haircut where the sides are shaved and it's slicked over to the side, and he's wearing a suit and he says, I just want you to be happy. I want you to have faith in God, and I want you to be a good wife, and we're going to make sure you're safe. And there's going to be a bunch of goons with guns standing behind him saying, and we'll make sure you're safe. They're going to pick it. They'll pick it every step of the way because it's safety and security. And the people running through the streets smashing windows and threatening people and talking about there being no genders or infinite genders freak people
Total
out.
chaos.
Yeah, it does.
I think a lot of the stuff we're seeing has a very good possibility that it results in fascism. And I think, I wonder if that's how it happened in Europe, because in Germany and Spain and other countries, the communists and the fascists were fighting each other all the time. And the regular liberals got attacked by them too and just kind of stood back and did nothing. And that's kind of how the bad stuff happens. So I wonder if in the end, when given the choice between what they call progress, but is actually just a mishmash of weird ideas, and authoritarian traditionalism, people choose what's familiar and what they think will be, safe and fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Think about it this way, man. They banned Gone with the Wind,
Yeah.
but they also banned Baby It's Cold Outside. There's going to be a ton of people who are in their 40s and 50s who are going to think back to that suburban life where it was Christmas time and they woke up early in the morning and there was mom making a batch of chocolate chip cookies, and she turned on the song Baby It's Cold Outside, and then they remember mom dancing with dad and having a good time, and they're going to say that was home, that was family, that was safe. And now they're being told you're wrong, you're evil, you're racist. Some people fall for it. Some people are going to say that was bad. Now, tradition is absolutely fine. It's the authoritarianism part where things become evil. Progress is absolutely fine.
Yep.
It's
Right.
the authoritarian part where things become evil.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have right now a liberal society, but the problem is I think too many liberty-minded people, libertarian, classically liberal, or otherwise, won't say anything. The conservatives have been speaking up and they get banned for it. Why? Because liberals won't speak up. I've talked to my friends about it and they're just like, oh, I don't know, I don't care, I don't be involved.
That's irresponsible.
Well, okay, then. When you lose your freedoms and you get, kicked in the butt, and then all this weird stuff starts happening. Now they're apparently in colleges. A friend of mine is doing a course. They have a specific course where you have to remove gendered language. So it's like what we saw with that UN segment where you call your landlord your owner.
Yep.
Yeah, that's in college and it's a part of their mandatory curriculum.
Yeah, they're infiltrating the colleges and changing curriculum for their end.
Yeah, so that's not new. I actually had a friend who lost a girlfriend. She broke up with him because she took a course on this kind of language and gender changing stuff in college. And she's like, you're part of the patriarchy. I'm sorry, I can't be your girlfriend anymore.
I've heard so many of these stories on Reddit.
Yeah.
People are just like, my girlfriend went to some feminist class and all of a sudden she's like, I have to break up with you because you're the patriarchy.
It made me so mad because it was my friend. It was a super nice guy. And I was like, dude, it's not right.
Welcome to the brave new world. 1984. Everything mishmashed a little bit. We got a little bit of Fahrenheit 451. We got a little bit of Brave New World and
yeah. Hey, Konstantin Kaisen's new special is called Orwell That Ends Well. That's available
interesting.
Online.
Who is he? I don't know who he is.
He's a comedian, and man, he is based. He just is
Oh,
talking
really?
about 2 + 2 = 4. Biological sex is real. Men and women are different. So I followed him. I kind of like him.
Somebody retweeted this thread from him, and he says he's a centrist Chad. And
Yeah.
but his thread was right. I've been saying this. I've been thinking it, and it's what actual white supremacists are hoping for. I'm not trying to say that everybody on the right is, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the small, tiny fraction are crossing their fingers, hoping that white people are forced to be identitarian. They want it to happen.
Yep, they want it.
And I think they're going to make it happen. And you know what? I don't. You know what? I don't like it. I like the idea of America being a melting pot where we can all hang out together, and our shared identity is that we're Americans.
Boom.
Yeah.
But they're erasing that.
They're erasing it.
The left is erasing
You're
that.
not allowed to be American. To be
Think
proud.
about-
If you're a proud American, then you're their enemy.
Yeah.
Don Lemon says he wants everyone to see him as a black man. He doesn't want people to ignore that. And I'm like,
So
Why?
you want to maintain being
racial division.
Yeah, exactly.
Being different.
Being a victim.
Like I don't
Not
understand.
even a
what,
victim,
what
just being
do they?
different.
Yeah.
So what do they want then? Do they want equality, or do they want to be known as someone that's different?
Preference.
What did Terry
From-
Crews say?
He said we can't get rid of white supremacy without whites.
Otherwise,
we have black supremacy.
and
Which
they
is not
got
good either.
mad.
Oh man.
They were mad.
But he's
Big
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not equality. We're all in this together. That's how he finished that
They don't
tweet.
want equality, dude.
I know. That's what he finished
Yeah.
that tweet though.
Yeah.
It's like, so you want black supremacy then, if that's the case. It's
They
like
don't-
I want equality. I want everyone to be treated equal.
Right.
I
True
like
American.
that.
Yeah.
You can't get it if people use identity as a pretext, because you will never have it.
Yep.
What are we going to do? Are we going to we have to create a quota where 5 foot tall women have to be in the NBA? It's only fair. All NBA teams now must be completely diverse. At least one person must be under 5 feet. At least one person must be over 6 feet. You must have an Indian person. You must have an Asian person. You must have a white person, a black person, a Mexican person. The teams must one person must be overweight. One person must be underweight. One person must have more muscle mass in their arms. We can go on.
Yeah.
One person must be in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
White person optional, of course.
No, you gotta have one
You
white person.
do?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. We're talking about real diversity,
Oh.
where you try and make the sports
Whoa.
team like everything.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna
But
do.
they
Sounds
don't
like a
even
terrible game.
but they don't even want that though.
No, they don't.
That's not even what they're saying.
I think a lot of these people that we see, like high profile Black Lives Matter people, like Ice Cube, for instance,
Yeah.
are probably followers of Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Yep.
So when Farrakhan got banned, Snoop Dogg made an Instagram video where he was flipping out, saying, "How dare you ban
yeah.
the minister?" You know, and then he ordered all of his, he told all his fans, post videos of Minister Farrakhan onto Instagram, so they can't do this.
Yeah.
You have that clip from Ice Cube. He posted anti-Semitic art
Okay.
that apparently shows a bunch of Jews playing Monopoly with like black people under the
Oh
board.
yeah, I saw that.
And he got attacked for it. And then somebody, I think it was Majid Nawaz, posted a picture of him with Farrakhan. And they're like, "What do you think these people are all about?"
Yeah.
Like, do you realize that like the Women's March people were seen at his event and they called him the greatest of all time? They really do support this guy and his ideas, and he says a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So I question when they prop these people up what they really want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just look at who they follow and who they think is the greatest of all time, and you'll get a better understanding. That's not to say everybody believes that stuff, but let's read some more of these super chats.
Yeah.
Super chats. If you haven't already, hit that like button.
Smash it.
Smash it.
Don't just hit it. You smash it.
Smash it.
Robert Bettel says we should invite all the Hong Kong refugees here and point them at the wokish.
Yes.
Yeah. John, thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you.
Aaron, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Benjamin Cameron says, can we talk about the fact they took Elmer Fudd's gun away? Yeah, what is going on?
He's a cowboy.
And Yosemite
oh
Sam.
no, he's a hunter.
He's a hunter.
Yosemite Sam. They took his guns
they took
too.
his revolvers. That's what he would do. He would go, bang, 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 and he would jump up and down.
Yeah.
The Simpsons has a guy who does that. The Texan cowboy guy in The Simpsons. He always goes, yeah, and that's firing his guns in the air.
Yep.
Like, which is ridiculous and irresponsible, but
Right.
it's a cartoon.
My goodness.
Trinex says, all three of you, if you could have any 3 superpowers, what 3 would you have? And your biggest fear is your weakness. For example, me, I'm afraid of bees, so hearing bees would deactivate my superpowers. Ooh. Oh, your biggest fear is your weakness?
I wouldn't need to sleep anymore to re-energize. I wouldn't need to consume anything to maintain my energy. And I wouldn't need to breathe oxygen either. Those 3.
What's your biggest fear? What's your weakness?
I don't know. I'd have to
Giraffes.
think about it. Is that
That deactivates Adam. Now
Yeah.
we know. Wow, I never
Yeah.
knew.
interesting? Giraffes.
I once
I'll just go with that.
prove
I'm not
Adam,
sure.
I can prove that Adam is scared of giraffes because one time he was walking down the stairs and I jumped out screaming at the top of my lungs while holding a picture of a giraffe, and he jumped from it. I can only assume it was because of the giraffe.
Yeah.
Yes.
That proves it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah, fears is a tough thing. First of all, I wouldn't know what superpowers I would want at all. I don't know.
I got
guess
3 at a biggest fear.
teleportation.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know. Invulnerability, I guess. I can just try the craziest skateboard tricks and just mind my own business.
Okay.
Oh, probably stopping time.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, or like slowing it or something like that.
Yeah.
But fears, I don't know. I don't have a greatest fear.
Yeah.
I don't.
Interesting.
Confidence.
Telling.
We both have a lot of
Yeah.
confidence.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do. Yeah. Wow.
What would make me scared? I think, one of the things about fear is that I remember growing up and what fear felt like when I was a little kid. I don't have that feeling.
Yeah.
So, and it could come from being in actual conflict zones. Maybe, I don't know at what point I stopped experiencing it. Maybe skateboarding took it away. Skateboarding's dangerous, man. I'll tell you why.
I could show you my ankles right now. They're black and blue.
Literally dangerous.
It's
yeah.
no. That's not why. It's because at the height of my skateboarding, I would look down from a 20-foot drop and be like, I can do it.
Yep.
I got this.
Because I've jumped off buildings, and it's like an ever increasing. Like, I made it last time, I can make it this time.
Yep.
I have a friend.
Or I made it at this level. I can make it at this level.
Yeah.
Yep. And so your fear is gone.
Yep.
So I guess I would arguably say I do have a fear in skateboarding of trying certain tricks, and that's about as close as I can get to being scared. But the thing about skateboarding is, like, today we're skating, and I'm like, man, I'll try a trick, and then I'll bail on it and be like, I'm just scared to do it.
Yeah.
But that's just,
It's not fear.
It's like
It's not-
self-preservation.
it's not a
I
fear.
don't think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Per se. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
What
What
about
about
you?
you?
What about you, Lydia?
Okay, for me, I want invisibility, time travel, and the ability to read minds. And my biggest fear is fear of failure or loss. So make of that what you will. My nightmares are about failing at my
So
job.
you'd be like Green Lantern,
yeah, something
where like when
that.
he loses his willpower and then he can't, make things with the ring.
Yeah,
That's what it would be.
yeah.
You'd be like fighting someone who would be like, you could never defeat me, you're pathetic. And you'd be like, oh no, my powers.
No, it's not a matter of
And then-
confidence. It's a matter of actually failing. If I,
Right.
because in my nightmare, I always come in partway through, it's way late, and I haven't done what I'm supposed to do.
So what I'm saying is that how that would translate into your weakness is that if you start doubting yourself and believing you're going to fail.
Or thinking that I already had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then so you'll have a bunch of people like in Yu-Gi-Oh! How all the dudes would always stand behind him and be like, you can do it, Yugi.
Yes.
And that's what you'd have. They'd be like, go, Lydia, we believe in you.
Yeah,
And
I
you'd be like,
need you
my
guys to be my
powers
yes
are
men.
returning.
Yes.
A series of
My
yes
hype
men
guys,
to give you
yeah.
hype guys.
Yeah, it's you guys. You're hired.
There you go.
No, I don't yes man to anyone.
Ah, come on,
Yes,
Adam. I
man.
need your help.
No, my friends in New York have coined a phrase, honest a-hole. Because I'm blunt. I'm straight up. I'm honest.
Don't
and
waste time.
I don't care if you like what I'm saying or not.
So
I'm
if-
going to give you my honest
If
opinion.
you think that I can do it, if you, Adam, were to believe in me, if you thought that I could really do something, I would know I could do it.
I'm
Okay.
I'd be
imagining.
undefeatable.
That's okay. You know what? That's
Yeah,
true.
there you
Wait,
go.
wait, so
If I
here's-
gave you that, I would. That's true.
So
I
I'm
would,
imagining
I would
this-
truly believe in you.
I'm imagining this really funny scenario. It's like, I know you mentioned your powers, but I'm just for the sake of the analogy. Like Lydia's flying and she's got like big energy blast about to come out of her hands and like her hair's on fire.
Yes.
And then she like throws a plasma blast and then Adam's sitting there's like, and you're like vaping like, she can't do it. And then all of a sudden her hair just turns to normal and she falls from the sky and then flops on the ground.
Darn you, Adam.
For the record, I don't vape.
I'm just kidding. I'm just like trying
that
to
would
like,
be really funny.
you're
though.
casually sitting there and you're like eating a sandwich.
That's more accurate.
She can't do it. And then her powers are gone when she falls
She
to the
just
ground.
falls out the
That's why
sky.
you don't rely on
Boom.
other
And
people.
then she like flops on a rock dead.
Oh, good times. This is how I die. Thank you,
The
everyone.
worst powers ever. Or the worst weakness.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's see. Wyatt Schultz says, it's funny to me that protesters say that the rioters are just bad apples and don't realize that it's the same thing that the police say. Isn't that funny how it works? Stigma of the Rose says, hey, Adam, I haven't paid money for MTG since RNA, but I play almost every day on Tabletop Simulator. It's a great way to play Commander with any cards you want and not pay for overpriced crap.
Cool.
And play banned cards. And also make your own extremely racist cards. Honey Badger says, John Brown Gun Club are rubes. Their training is crap. Take it from someone who has a lot of tactical training and practical application in war zones. It's probably because the people who actually know how to do this stuff aren't leftists.
Yeah.
And it's probably because people who go through this stuff understand what's wrong with the leftist ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grant Langford says, from a small town in Texas, I seriously doubt a band of rioters from Fort Worth or Dallas would fare well in a small town in Texas. They don't condone violence, but these people won't stand for rioters trying to destroy our businesses.
I That's exactly what I'm thinking. I've
Yeah.
been saying. I'm like, they're not going to the suburbs yet. We have yet to hear them going into the suburbs.
No, they have.
Oh,
Absolutely
where?
have.
Where?
In Chicago.
And what's going on in Chicago?
What do you mean?
Crazy
Oh, yeah.
shootouts
crazy.
and
right,
people
right,
dying.
Crazy crime. Yep. Yeah, apparently people are organizing in towns they don't live in.
Yep.
It's
Weird.
creepy. It
Yeah.
is
Unsettling.
culty, creepy, whatever.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in Chicago in the burbs that are strapped.
Yep, they're ready.
Yeah.
They're ready,
They
man.
got this.
I know some people in the burbs, preppers,
Yep.
take it very seriously.
Yeah.
That's where the more conservative people live.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, where are we at? Freak says, what do you think about polycentric legal systems, Tim? There's a lot of theory about it in anarcho-capitalism, but I think it could really work out if it's not done abruptly. I don't know anything about it, unfortunately.
Same.
Uriel says, you ask what will happen when they show up at our door with rocks and pitchforks, but what will happen when the one that answers the door is armed with a gun?
Right.
Right. That's the point I was saying. Like people who live in cities and suburbs who
Yeah.
can't protect themselves, you get dragged out in the street. They'll tie a rope around your leg and then drag you in the back of a car. True Habit says, what makes me particularly mad is when I see these videos of innocent people getting brutally attacked by the mob. The people need to start checking them with lethal force. I do not agree with that. I don't like it when the mob attacks people, but we have less lethal, munitions for a reason because people are dumb and, we want to avoid taking life. But I agree they're bad people. Ben McAdams says, have you watched The Fall Cabal or Out of Shadows on YouTube? I have not. Have you guys?
I saw Out of Shadows.
What is it?
Very conspiratorial.
Oh, is that the Q thing? Out of
Yeah,
Shadows?
along the line, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Fry says, these people haven't realized the beanie is watching. Spin the UFO and make those little aliens dizzy.
Yes.
All right.
Make those little aliens
Gladly.
dizzy.
no.
And don't worry, like Fry. I
good
remember
work.
your beanie idea.
They're
And
gonna-
Now,
I'm still going to make it happen.
I do have some bad news. There are not aliens in the UFO. There are underground U.S. black operations technologists operating a prototype. They're just dorky little American dudes.
And they're really, really tiny.
And
Yeah.
now Dizzy.
Oh,
very small.
Yeah.
Villa Music Dude says, some activist orgs say that capitalism is racist. I believe slavery wasn't part of capitalism and is unfairly blamed. Free market economics is based in voluntary exchange. Slavery isn't voluntary and a scar on reasoning for capitalism. Yep.
That's a good point.
William Goodwin says, are you familiar with the Stanford prison experiment? And do you think it's applicable to the events in Seattle? If yes, do you think that people will start turning on each other how many days? I heard that experiment was flubbed.
Yeah, it's faked.
It's faked? Yeah.
I thought, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's not real.
And as far as them turning on each other, yeah, we're seeing that right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Have you met
It's already,
people?
it's already
Have you
happening.
met
Yeah,
leftists?
Seriously,
met
anyone.
people.
It's a human thing, I think.
Mark S. says, if you get a locals page or something like that, I will sign up without a second thought. The issue with locals is that it costs money. And so, Dave's cool. I think there's a lot of people using that are great, but it costs money. And so, I don't know. Haven't got around to it, I guess. The Spot says, the sad reality is that when we have a segment of the country that are 100% incapable of free thought and common sense, have also been brainwashed and indoctrinated by adults around them. Yeah. Zachary Evans says, do you believe any sort of politicians could be funding Antifa? Didn't Joe Biden pay the bail for some of these rioters?
Sure
Not
did.
him
So-
per se, but
Yeah.
his
His
staff.
staff.
Yeah.
So, and that's not directly Antifa, but I'm like Keith Ellison held up the book. He bought the book, therefore the money went to Antifa. So,
Yeah,
but not on a grand scale. We don't know about that.
we don't know. Well, it's not a do we know? It's do you think?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Buster Magician says, most left don't realize that Trump is the wall that hold his supporters back from ending all this. If the Dem win and Trump ever quits, barricade yourself because the gloves will come off. I really do believe that. And a lot of people in the media were like, can you imagine what Trump's base will do if he loses? And there were pictures of like angry Trump people with pitchforks. And then Trump won, and then they became the angry people with pitchforks.
Yeah.
The reality is
True.
nothing is holding back Antifa, but Trump is holding back his base. And if Trump loses, look, Antifa doesn't like Biden.
Yeah.
The worst thing for this country, I think, will be if Biden wins. Because the left hates him, and they'll take the gloves off. And if Trump, and then the Trump supporter will take their gloves off, and then
Good point.
there it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, Biden is not the right choice.
No.
he's not.
But I guess even if Trump wins, the left is going to go insane. So,
The left is insane. Tim.
Yeah, let's
yes.
just
No, but I mean, like,
Already.
worse.
they're going to snap.
Yeah.
It's going to be, like, "Rah!" And they're going to be running around.
They're going to riot?
Yep. Joe Ganji says NASCAR has called to have all Confederate flags taken and no one to fly them during races. What is going on? Enjoy the three of you with your uncensored work you do. Thanks. It's called a culture revolution, and they are getting rid of undesirables. Eventually, it'll become physical.
Yeah, they're calling to change all the army bases.
Yeah. Well, Trump said no.
Trump was like,
Nah.
sorry, no. Actually, he didn't say sorry. He said no. Period.
Yeah. Jackson Wang says, during Cultural Revolution, Grandma was paraded around. People spit through food and feces and rocks, then buried her neck deep, forced her to watch a neighbor dump buckets of feces on my mom, only 10 at the time. Do not wish that on anyone.
Holy
Yikes,
cow.
man. Wow.
That's messed up.
Not good. Brandon says, first super chat ever. Love y'all's work. There was a Dem Zoom call where one guy said it was good Biden was being kept in the basement.
Yeah.
Also, statues of Columbus are being taken down now. Yep. Culture revolution, baby. Jacob Shank says, you're describing preferential voting. This is what Australia uses. It lets you vote for the party you want to come last.
Oh.
Kind of an inversion of the first past the post. But you also vote for party, and the party chooses like the prime minister or something. Here we go. Joe John says, I am 59. I saw Vietnam live on TV. This race war has been there. I am racist by association. I grew up in Minneapolis, and races were divided by street addresses. Cognitive dissonance. Check my attitude at the door. PTSD. Yikes, man. All right, let's see what we got here. We got, I just passed one up that we must get to. I am scrolling up because this is YouTube, and wow, we got too many super chats.
Thank you, everybody.
Villa Music Dude says, thoughts on systemic racism. Some statistics studies show first, second generation immigrant black populations versus American black populations. Immigrant population outperform spending habits, family cohesion, education, wealth, and home ownership. How do you reconcile? Well, I think that when you have a group of people who come from, like, look, slavery ended. And then you have the people who just left slavery have no education, limited access. They have no money. What do? And they slowly start building up from there, but they're in a society that already has families with generational wealth, not every single person. When immigrants come, they do have the family tradition and culture from their previous country that didn't, in the past few generations, come from absolutely nothing. Not everybody. Ultimately, I think there is an argument to be made about helping to repair generational damage. The only problem is the solutions they're offering are surface level that won't actually address anything. They also target people based on race, which ultimately I think will not work, because how do you actually track back who deserves what and who has to pay it? So if the argument is you think the people who were slaves should get paid reparations, I would say here, yes, go find all of those Confederates and make them pay for it, because we're the country, we won. The Union won. We are the ones who paid and fought to end slavery. So why would we pay now after we already sacrificed everything? That's why the argument doesn't work. I do think, though, the generational wealth gap creates ghettos and poverty, and there is systemic racism. So if you look at how civil rights ended, and it's not even been 100 years, it's been decades, you have places in Seattle that still have remnants of it. We've certainly passed laws and said you can't do this anymore, but there are still remnants the easiest example, I guess, is how St. Louis is made up of like 90 different cities. And I did a documentary on this. What'll happen is they call it going on tour. If you have an expired license plate because you're poor and you can't afford the $20, you got to make a choice. Eat food, register, pay for your registration again. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's $50. You need the car to go to work. When these people go to work and they decide to eat instead of, renewing their plates, they drive through 3 or 4 jurisdictions where they get pulled over in each one, get a ticket for the same thing in each one. And then when they get arrested because they can't pay the ticket either, they go to jail. It's usually a couple days in jail because it's a small fine. When they get released, the next jurisdiction is waiting to pick them up and bring them to the next police department. So if you have a group of people that have been, starting from very little and lack the resources to actually deal with these normal institutions, and then you have all of these jurisdictions, it creates problems. Now, I think the problem is class. I don't think it's race. There are certainly racial aspects to it. If we can solve the class problems, everyone's happy. There are more poor white people in this country than poor black people and poor Latinos. But there are bad things in our past that we should, figure out how to fix. And you don't do it by telling people with nothing to do with one thing to pay for people, and that won't solve anything. You do it through education and, I guess, proper appropriation of tax revenue towards certain areas, and it takes a long time. It's not going to be a simple solution. What they're doing now, in my opinion, isn't the answer, because they're doing the opposite. They're telling universities that you can ban people based on their race. You're creating more of this problem, and it's not going to solve anything. And when you try to point out class as the issue, they call you a racist and they say you're blind. Yep. So there you go. Little rant on systemic racism or whatever. We'll read a couple more super chats, but we're getting close to bedtime, just so you guys know. So if you haven't already, smash the like button.
Smash that like button.
Make sure to follow all of us at Timcast, at Adam Krigler, and at Sour Patch Lids.
And follow me. Yeah.
Aaron M says, Tim and Co. Have you guys watched Ben Shapiro's Debunking Systemic Racism Explained video? If not, maybe do, and would love your commentary on it. I will check that out because
I haven't seen it.
So, like I've explained these issues to a lot of people, having actually looked into St. Louis. Okay. But also, come on, Chicago created something called redlining. They literally would not allow certain people of certain races to move to certain areas.
That was created in Chicago?
It was, yes.
I didn't know
red
that
line
was a
trains.
Chicago thing. Oh,
yes.
Wow.
There's also something called block busting. Let me tell you about systemic racism. First of all, you need to understand institutional racism. The problem with both of these concepts is that the left, when they explain it, they give you wacky, nonsensical answers and call you a bigot. Yeah. They also don't like talking about it. Institutional racism, the best example is how the housing market is racist. Did you know that?
Yep.
So I don't know if it still persists to this day, but I do know that for the longest time, real estate companies would exploit the fact that if a black family moved into a white neighborhood, it would drive down property value. That was a fact because it wasn't that any of these individuals in these houses were racist. It was that there was an expectation that this family moving in would be bad for prices and no one would want to live there. And so it was the assumption that other people were racist, which created this problem, which is another reason why I don't like how the left is making everything about race.
Sounds like the original Karens.
Mm-hmm. Think about it this way. Right now, they are telling you that everything is about race.
Yeah.
So now, because of the assumption that white people are racist, people are going to be scared that if a black or brown person moves into their neighborhood, well, if white people are racist, then white people won't want to buy my house, so I can't sell it, so the price will go down, so people panic. That fake, insane view creates the institutional problem.
Yep.
So I explained this to this very lefty friend of mine. She was an SJW. She owned property in New York. I said, let me ask you a question. If a black family moved next to you, what would you do? And she goes, oh, I would sell. And I laughed. And I'm like,
wow, seriously?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
And I said, why? And she goes, because my property value would go down. And I'm like, are you? And she was like, but I'm not racist. And I was like, you realize you are like, that view of what's going to happen is part of the problem. Yep. Now here's what ends up happening. Block busting was when they would do it in a variety of ways. They would go, real estate companies would go to a white area, buy a house. Yeah. Then they would move in a black family for a low rent or something. Okay. And then go around to all the houses saying, do you see what's happening? You better sell to us before it's too late. And they would buy the house up for a premium. Yeah. Because they'd say, okay, quick, I'll sell. Just tell me what you want. Yeah. And then they would move the black family out and resell them to white families for the original price. That was called block busting. These things happened. They exist. Yeah. And it's only ended in the 80s. It's like, depending on where you live, these things can still be happening. So the biggest problem I have is these things are problems, and there is no magic bullet. Yeah. There is no legislative solution other than banning the practice. Yeah. But if people still have this in their minds, what do? Well, I'll tell you what you don't do. You make them sit in Bethesda, Maryland in a park, raising their hands, worshiping the sky while they chant mindlessly, because that makes everything worse.
Or including it in a video game that a 9-year-old
makes everything worse.
plays.
Mm-hmm. They are exacerbating racial identity issues.
Absolutely.
Maybe the best thing to do is to let people heal. Could you imagine? I often think about this. When people get injured and they keep touching and poking and prodding at the wound because they're like, it's like the Family Guy joke where they're all complaining about things to City Hall. And then one guy randomly goes, I got a canker sore in my mouth and I keep poking it with my tongue, but that's just making it worse. It's like, stop doing that. Just give it time to heal. Slow down. Yeah. Maybe there isn't something you can do. Well, right now we got a wound and they're just whacking at it and it's not healing because they keep making it worse. I'm not gonna pretend to know all the answers though. So yeah, I'll leave it there, and I will check out Ben Shapiro's video and I will see what I have to say about it. We have a couple more super chats I will read. St. Miles says, after listening to you folks talk, my whiskey tastes sweeter and I calm down. Love the uncensored talk in the chats. Real people talking honest thoughts. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's great. Yeah, I agree. Chat's awesome.
Yeah. Jared Paquette says, defunding the police is also important because so many are in the pockets of those who think they're above the law. I think there's a discussion around demilitarizing and improving and reforming. And most people think reform is a good idea.
I agree with it for sure.
Yeah, and that's just like we do that all the time.
Our country does it all the time.
That's normal stuff for this country.
The
but
amendments.
they hate it.
The amendments.
I know.
Are reform.
Yep. And they hate it. They say reform never worked. What do you mean? It literally worked every single time we've had a problem. We've like sat
Right.
down. There's been some protests, and then we've changed it.
Yep.
No, but they're like, we have to riot. Val Eris says, hey, you three smart people, search for a name. Tony Timpa. See if you spot anything surprising. It is quite alarming, by the way. Cheers. Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it too.
Yeah, of course. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was like very pro Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
And at the core, like the legit activists, I agree. Like I think DeRay McKesson, the stuff I've seen from him, he's like the most prominent. He's a good dude. I think he's talked about police reform, and I think he makes a lot of sense. And I think there are a lot of bad actors that are exploiting it, notably Antifa.
Definitely.
But I asked a friend of mine who was very adamantly pro Black Lives Matter. I said, can you name how many unarmed black people were killed by cops last year? The answer was?
How many?
No.
No.
The answer was
The
no.
answer is no. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, so what are you doing? Like, why are you like posting these things if you don't even know yourself?
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying if you can't tell me, then how do you think you're going to convince me? They don't know anything. They don't. They see the Instagram post and they're like, yay. And then Netflix sees it and goes, we're going to put a thing. And then everyone just does it and it makes no sense.
It's an echo chamber of virtue signals.
Yep.
It just keeps getting louder
It's
and louder.
Jerry
and louder.
Smith shaking their hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all of these lefties being like, I'm virtuous. High five. High
Yes.
five.
It's a
Meanwhile, the
simple
poor people in the gutter go like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're not helping us.
They're not helping us at
Yeah.
all. They're
Nope.
not solving anything either.
Yeah. All right. Last super chat. Palmer Wood says, have you heard the stuff about all donations to the BLM website going to Biden's campaign via Act Blue? I don't believe it's going to Biden's campaign, but Act Blue is like a progressive fundraising arm. And then the Republicans have Win Red.
Actually, someone hit me up earlier today about because you can go to Act Blue and see where the money goes. Bernie got like 160 million from them. And
From what?
From Act Blue. The Act Blue
Yeah.
like
Because when
campaign
you
donations.
because when you donate to Bernie, you go to the Act Blue website.
Oh, okay, so it
It's
just
a
goes through
centralized
that.
donation system.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And Republicans have Win Red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway,
Biden was second on the list, like 140 mil.
wow. And I mean, his fundraising has been relatively close to Trump's, but Trump's still winning.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how things go, man. Will the
Yes,
secret
we
Trump
shall.
voters vote for Trump in November? Will the world end? We will see. Stay tuned for the next episode of Timcast IRL tomorrow,
Yes.
8 p.m. live.
Yes.
That was
Done.
wonderful.
Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Timcast. Follow Adam at Adam Krigler. Send Adam your story ideas.
Send them my
and
way.
you can follow at Sour Patch Lids, LYDS.
Yep.
We will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for
Smash
hanging
that
out.
like button.
Smash the like button on your way out, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.